Chapter 1581. Suspicion. I've always heard that the Siam continent is much better than the Miluo continent, with treasures around every corner. I'm hoping to visit Siam with you and broaden my horizons. Now that I'm yours, I can't stand the thought of being away from you even for a day. Qishan smiled but didn't give her a clear answer. It was not the first time he had encountered a woman in the lower realm dedicating herself to flattery, hoping for a chance to ascend to the upper realm. To him, although Lu Zixi might be pretty and entertaining, she was just a plaything. Whether you can go to the upper realm with me depends on your performance. Lu Zixi gritted her teeth secretly but said coquettishly, "My lord, didn't Zixi behave well enough just now? How else do you want Zixi to behave?" Qishan rolled his eyes and suddenly said in a deep voice, "Tell me first, what is the origin of that Shiyu?" When Lu Zixi heard Shiyu's name, her increasingly seductive face twisted ferociously. It took her a long time to calm down. She gritted her teeth and said, "She is just a village girl from a small place. What kind of background does she possibly have? It's sheer luck that she has immortal Xian Qing as her master. Otherwise, where would she be today? My lord, you wouldn't believe it. Immortal Xian Qing treats the village girl well, establishing the Shengde pharmacy for her and providing her with the best quality pill. Immortal Xian Qing had even advanced her cultivation from the foundation establishment stage to gold core stage. That bitch only had foundation establishment stage when she ventured into the magical beast forest. She was supposed to die there, but she advanced in the forest into the gold core stage. Even heaven favors her." The more Lu Zixi said, the more resentful and crazy she became. However, Qishan frowned and caught Lu Zixi's words. Did she advance from the foundation establishment stage to the gold core stage within half a year? It even happened in the magical beast forest. Tell me exactly what happened when she promoted her cultivation. Zixi was annoyed, full of disdain. The last thing she wanted to talk about was Shiyu's shining achievements. Qishan suddenly narrowed his eyes and said, "As long as you tell me everything you know, without any falsehoods, I promise to take you to Siam continent when your cultivation reaches the nascent soul stage." "My lord, are you serious?" Qishan's eyes flashed a hint of sarcasm, but he smiled and said, "Little beauty, you serve me so well. How could I lie to you? But don't blame me for being harsh if you dare to lie." Qishan spoke the last sentence in a stern voice. Lu Zixi shuddered, but she eventually committed and recounted in detail the scene of Shiyu's advancement in cultivation during that time. The more Qishan listened, the more dignified his expression became. The time when Shiyu advanced was precisely the time when Golden Wolf planned to capture the beastkins in the magical beast forest. However, after that, Golden Wolf suddenly disappeared. When he returned, he had become a fool, repeating the words, "would source," repeatedly. Moreover, after Qishan inquired about the Miluo continent, he found out that during those days, unusual events happened in the magical beast forest. There were thunderclouds covering the sky and green beams of light shooting straight into the sky. It just so happened that Shiyu ascended to the gold core stage at that time. Could everything be related to this girl? The same girl who would actually wear the phoenix feather heavenly dress and even make the phoenix feather heavenly dress acknowledge her as the owner. Thank you for supporting our novels. Your comment, interaction, and just by reading the novels are a great support to us. Discover what unfolds next by accessing the chapters before anyone else. Your support means the world to us. Click here to access our support page. Follow current novels on Top Novelful.com if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1582. Good for nothing. Thinking of this, Qishan could no longer stay still. He abruptly pushed away Zixi, who was lying on top of him, and swiftly got up. Lu Zixi reached out to hold him back and said puzzledly, "My lord, what's the matter? It's still late at night. Why did you get up?" Before she could finish speaking, Qishan impatiently pushed her aside and vanished from the room in a flash. Zixi was left alone and utterly clueless about what she did wrong. She looked both shocked and scared. While Lu Shuyang was eagerly and excitedly thinking about how to get the wood source, he suddenly felt a violent spiritual power fluctuation coming from the direction of the barrier teleportation array. With a serious look, he hurried over but only saw Qishan disappearing into the barrier. "Father, what happened? Why did Sir Qishan leave suddenly?" Lu Zhishi's panicked voice came from behind. The panic was mixed with resentment. "This bastard, how dare he leave after everything? What did you take me, Lu Zhishi, as? You're supposed to improve my strength and bring me to the Siam continent as soon as possible." Lu Shuyang's expression turned livid. He slowly turned to look at Lu Zhishi. "That's a question I should be asking you. What just happened? Why did Qishan leave so suddenly?" Lu Zhishi said aggrievedly, "Father, I obeyed your order to serve Sir Qishan. I don't know why Sir Qishan suddenly—" Lu Shuyang waved his hand to cut her off. He said with a gloomy face, "Tell me everything you have done and said. If you dare to hide anything, you will know the consequences." Lu Zhishi was terrified when she saw Lu Shuyang's cold and cruel eyes. Years of dominance made her dare not resist, so she obediently recounted everything that had just happened. When Lu Shuyang heard her mentioning what happened before and after she used advancement in cultivation, his expression was gloomy and frightening. Before Zhishi could finish her sentence, he slapped her hard, gritting his teeth and saying, "You're good for nothing. I can't believe a useless person like you ruined my plan." Half of Lu Zhishi's cheek was swollen from the slap. She fell heavily to the ground, looking at Lu Shuyang with astonishment and horror. Lu Shuyang sneered, with a sharp cold glint in his eyes, "I kept you around to restore your beauty, hoping that you could control the people sent by the Green Vine clan. I have never expected you to be so useless. Not only did you fail to seduce Qishan, but you also ruined my entire plan. What's the use of me keeping trash like you?" Father, I'm sorry. I dare not repeat the mistake again. Please give your daughter another chance, sob." Lu Zhishi cried loudly. She knew how cruel Lu Shuyang was, who might probably kill her on the spot. Lu Shuyang raised his hand in midair. He sneered, "Fine, I'll spare your life. You'll serve well to divert Nangong Yu's attention. I bet you didn't know. Nangong Yu and the Nangong family have already grasped the crucial clues. Soon, they will trace the clues back to you. My dear daughter, best of luck to you." Lu Zhishi's eyes widened all of a sudden. Her face was filled with fear. She opened her mouth wide, wanting to say something. However, Lu Shuyang already instructed coldly, "Send Miss back to Miracle Healer Academy. Without my permission, she is not allowed to return to the Doctors Association." "No! Dad, help me. A shrill cry sounded in Lu Shuyang's mansion and disappeared without a trace. Thank you for supporting our novels. Your comment, interaction, and just by reading the novels are a great support to us. Discover what unfolds next by accessing the chapters before anyone else. Your support means the world to us. Click here to access our support page. Follow current novels on Top Novelful. Com if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1583. Legend. As for Heshi, after they returned to the dormitory of Huang Medical Branch, Nangong Yu was quickly driven away by the impatient immortal Xian Qing. Nangong Yu found this old man not pleasing to the eye, but immortal Xian Qing's cultivation was higher. He was Shier's master too, so he could only stomach his frustration. After Nangong Yu left, immortal Xian Qing took out the chicken legs and fine wine. While indulging in the food, he mumbled, "My dear Discipline, did you agree to marry that rascal? You know, I have connections with many talented young men in the upper realm, surely better choices than that Nangongjiu." A hint of amusement flashed in Heshi's eyes, but she feigned complaint. "No way. Just one relationship is troublesome enough, and now you want to introduce me to a bunch of potential dates? Are you trying to make my life even more complicated?" Immortal Xian Qing glanced at her. He shook his head and said, young girls grow up so quickly. In such a short time, my sweet and precious disciple has been charmed away by that Nangong family's brat. He's just as shameless as his master. Hashi asked in surprise. Master? Who is Nangong Yu's master? Immortal Xian Qing paused momentarily, then chuckled awkwardly. That's a shameless old man. Every time he loses a fight with me, he throws a fit. He's always mooching off my food and drink. It figures that his disciple and grand disciple would be cut from the same cloth. Hashi glanced suspiciously at immortal Xian Qing. She had the illusion that the person who lost the duel fight and cheated was her gluttonous master. Feeling embarrassed by Heshi's gaze, immortal Xian Qing glared back at her. After quickly finishing the chicken leg in his hand, he said in a deep voice, "Bring out the phoenix feather heavenly dress and purple jade phoenix hairpin for me to see." Hashi was surprised but still took out the two items without hesitation. Phoenix feather heavenly dress looked lavish and vibrant. Both its fabric and accessories emitted a faint glow. However, it shone a bit lesser than when Hashi wore it. However, when Hashi touched it, a ray of light flashed immediately on the cloth woven with natural silk. The array patterns on it flashed. In Hashi's eyes, it was as if the crisscross patterns on the clothes were suddenly energized when she touched them. Hashi's eyes widened slightly. Immortal Xian Qing's face turned serious. The playful smile just now was no longer on his face. He spoke in a deep voice. The seal of the phoenix feather heavenly dress has been lifted. That's quite unexpected. Immortal Xian Qing looked at his disciple. The expression in his eyes was indescribably complicated. The young girl before him was in the prime of her youth, stunningly beautiful. Even in the legendary god domain, it might be hard to find a woman more captivating than her. Initially, immortal Xian Qing accepted this disciple because he liked this young girl's personality. Besides, he really couldn't resist the temptation of delicious food. However, what he thought to be an ordinary lower realm girl had such an astonishing secret behind her. Everything was unimaginable, whether it was the portrait, her stunning talent, or the hidden power of those around her. Not to mention the activated phoenix feather heavenly dress. Does my young disciple understand what it means for the phoenix feather heavenly dress to be activated? If the legend is true, the rightful owner of phoenix feather heavenly dress is destined to be that person's. Immortal Xian Qing frowned tightly. Even Hashi noticed his unusual behavior. She couldn't help but ask, "Master, what's the matter? Is there something wrong with this phoenix feather heavenly dress?" Thank you for supporting our novels. Your comment, interaction, and just by reading the novels are a great support to us. Discover what unfolds next by accessing the chapters before anyone else. Your support means the world to us. Click here to access our support page. Follow current novels on Top Novelful.com if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1584. Disaster. Immortal Xian Qing looked at Heshi hesitantly, pausing momentarily before asking, "Are you sure you're set on marrying none other than Nangongyu?" Heshi blushed. For a rare moment, she looked like a bashful young girl. "Master, how many times are you going to ask me that? If there were anyone in this world she would willingly spend her life with, it would undoubtedly be Nangongyu. Moreover, we had set a date for our wedding. We will return to Jinling City after the matter of Miracle Healer Academy is over. Master, will you go back together?" Hashi had always been reserved and independent, but she could sense every bit of affection that immortal Xian Qing showered on her. From initially resisting him to accepting him, she truly regarded this old man as a master and an elder. That was why she occasionally showed a softer, youthful side before him. Seeing her demeanor, immortal Xian Qing knew it wasn't a one-sided deep infatuation from Nangongyu. He couldn't help but sigh and say, "Oh, okay, I won't ask anymore. However, be careful from now on." Seeing immortal Xian Qing's solemn expression, Hashi immediately restrained herself and listened to the teaching. Immortal Xianqing narrowed his eyes slightly. Members of the Green Vine clan and the Nangong family witnessed everything today. Soon, this news will spread to the Siam continent. If they learn that you've worn the phoenix feather heavenly dress, there will be a lot of troubles. What concerns me most isn't that, but the wood's spiritual root in your body. Green Vine clan has been looking for the purest wood's spiritual root, intending to claim it as their own. It will spell disaster if they discover the wood's spiritual root in you. He wanted to confess to Immortal Xianqing about the wood source, but Immortal Xianqing suddenly picked up Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress. A stream of pure spiritual power, mixed with the power of fundamental essence, suddenly poured into Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress. The already illuminated glowing patterns on the Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress shone as bright as the blazing sun, dazzling and brilliant. When the power and light faded, Immortal Xianqing slumped exhausted into his chair. His face revealed his fatigue. Even the wrinkles on his face deepened a bit more. "Master!" Immortal Xianqing waved his hand, signaling He to stay calm. He panted briefly before saying, "What are you shouting for? Pouring this bit of spiritual power and fundamental essence into it doesn't kill me. I can recover in merely a month." He frowned and looked at Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress. "Master, why are you?" After catching his breath, Immortal Xianqing quickly took out a bottle of fine wine, had several gulps and sighed, "Now that's a good wine. A drink brings this old man back to life, ha." Seeing Hexi's worried and disapproving face, Immortal Xianqing smiled and said, "My dear disciple, I know you can now use old Zijin's Maha inheritance at the 3rd level, Sinless Fire. This move is mighty. When executed at full strength, it can instantly kill martial artists in the early and middle stages of the soul-splitting stage. However, your current cultivation is inadequate. Using the Sinless Fire will exhaust your spiritual power. At most, you can instantly kill a nascent soul-stage martial artist. I have infused my fundamental essence into the Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress. If you ever find yourself in grave danger, put on the Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress and unleash the Sinless Fire. The power of the move is raised to its limit. Also, I have ensured you can cast it at least 3 times. You have too many secrets surrounding you, girl. I can't always be by your side to protect you. Even if you used an inscribed message jade slip to alert me, I might not make it in time. Thankfully, the Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress can store fundamental essence. Thank you for supporting our novels. Your comment, interaction, and just by reading the novels are a great support to us. Discover what unfolds next by accessing the chapters before anyone else. Your support means the world to us. Click here to access our support page. Follow current novels on Top Novelful.com if you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1585. Widespread news. My dear disciple, this is a wedding gift from me. Oh, I have suffered a big loss this time, losing so much of my spiritual energy. I have to drink a lot of fine wine to make up for it. He took over the Phoenix Feather Heavenly Dress and felt the robust energy circulating on the dress. She felt grateful and joyful. This gift was indeed what she needed and liked the most. Thank you, Master. He hugged Immortal Xianqing, ignoring his sloppy clothes and the alcohol residue on his beard. She decided that after this busy period she would brew some fine wine for Immortal Xianqing, showcasing her culinary and brewing skills from her previous life to repay her master's kindness. Immortal Xianqing was flustered, and even his face was red. Ha! My cold and indifferent apprentice suddenly treats me so kindly. Such magnitude of care makes me flattered. No wonder those elderlies in the Siam continent like the youngsters so much, wanting to pamper them so much. The news that Shiyu was a woman spread rapidly to the entire Miluo continent. Due to Nangong Yu's influence, the boundless black market spread the news everywhere. In just a few days, the Miluo continent heard 2 pieces of news. The first piece of news was that Shiyu was a woman. The second piece of news was that the king of hell, Nangongyu, and she would get married on September 9th. The location was set to be the Yanjing city of Jinling Kingdom. Shi Yu and the others were running busy in the sealed dragon domain of Jinling Kingdom. Was the sealed dragon domain big? Yes, that place was vast beyond imagination. The warehouse there could store thousands of goods. However, the warehouse was almost full. Even the Greenwood domain, which had more caves, was short of space to store the treasures. In just a few days, the bridal gifts from the King of Hell Mansion kept pouring into the Tsang Mountain. Because of this, everyone knew that Shi Yu was the one who snatched control of the sealed dragon domain's secret territory back then. Was it shocking? Yes, of course. However, when everyone knew that Shi Yu was immortal Xian Qing's disciple, the shock turned into amazement and acceptance. Immortal Zijin left behind the sealed dragon domain's secret territory. Moreover, or even better, the immortal Xian Qing's cultivation was comparable to immortal Zijin's. So, there were no surprises for immortal Xian Qing's disciples to acquire the sealed dragon domain. In just over a year since Shi Yu rose to prominence, there were too many astonishing deeds she had accomplished. She established her name in the Breaking Spirit Mountain, acquired the Shengda Hall, concocted the best quality pill, saved the Yangon City Lord's son, and entered the Miracle Healer Academy. Now, it was revealed that she was a woman who would be marrying into the King of Hell Mansion. Many people thought that if someone said Shi Yu was the Nine Heavens Maiden or a hidden gem from the vast sea, they wouldn't be surprised. The shock she had given everyone had been so numerous that they had become numb. The citizens of Jinling Kingdom had fully come to see the King of Hell, Nangongyu, and Shi Yu as representatives of their kingdom. It was initially a small kingdom that everyone oppressed, but they held pride in speaking to outsiders with their identities now. Did you say you belonged to the Tsang Ming Kingdom? Was your land bigger than ours? That was nothing. If the King of Hell attacked your land would soon belong to Jinling Kingdom at any minute. Chapter 1586, Dowry. So, I heard you were from the Shuiyu sect, which was rich in resources. Could you get a steady supply of the best quality pills? Our Jinling Kingdom could because the headquarters of the Shengda Hall was in our Jinling Kingdom. Shi Yu was also from our Jinling Kingdom. Hence, the wedding of Hishi and Nangongyu was celebrated as the biggest event in the Jinling Kingdom. Everyone was eagerly awaiting the arrival of September 9th. In the sealed dragon domain, Shi Jia, Mai Xiang, Mu Dong, and the rest knelt in front of Mammy Chen's tomb, paying their respect individually. Shi Jia said softly, "Mammy Chen, the young miss asked me to tell you that she is doing well and is about to get married. You can rest easy now." Mai Xiang and Mu Dong had tears in their eyes. Although they didn't know Mammy Chen, they were aware that she was someone the young miss deeply respected. They had also heard many stories about Mammy Chen and knew the hardships she and the young miss had endured. Mai Xiang said sobbingly, "Mammy Chen, we will take good care of the young miss. His Royal Highness King of Hell is so in love with her. She will be happy after marriage." In the ice-snow domain, hundreds of thousands of Jinwei army gathered together, each with a look of astonishment and shock on their faces. Mr. Shi Yu is actually a woman. The talented and dazzling Mr. Shi Yu is actually a woman? That was already several days later. When they first heard the news, all 100,000 of them were utterly shocked. They were frozen in disbelief for several hours, unable to snap out of it. Chen Guang muttered, "Who would have thought that after training for so long, instead of having the young miss join the battle, we'd first have to attend her wedding?" Speaking of Miss, Chen Guang's mouth twitched. He still couldn't believe it. Shi Yu was a woman, and she was about to get married. Someone among the soldiers suddenly shouted, "Who cares if she is a young master or a young miss? Since she is getting married, we need to show up and support her. When the time comes, our troops will follow behind the wedding procession, carrying the dowry. We'll march in majestically with dowry spans thousands of miles." Upon hearing this, everyone rejoiced and burst into laughter. I wonder if the wedding banquet held by the King of Hell Mansion will be big enough to accommodate all 100,000 of us. If the wedding banquet isn't grand enough, how dare he marry our young miss? Someone shouted. Anyway, the young miss has invited us to the wedding, let's go and enjoy ourselves. Pissage, are you kidding me? That's His Royal Highness King of Hell, the mightiest martial artist in our Jinling kingdom. He's currently the #1 of the Miluo continent. If he is marrying our young miss, do you really think that the arrangements would be anything less than grand? Apart from the Jinling kingdom, there was also the Shen family from the Qingxia sect, Master Yuehua of the Yangon city, and even the Han family and the Xia family. Some of them were shocked, and some were delighted. They all started looking for rare items as gifts for the September 9th. The entire Miluo continent immortal realm had never been so lively. Of course, while some people were delighted, there were also those who felt resentful and unwilling. When Nalen Yurong got the news, she had just returned from the nascent soul stage old man whom Master Shukong asked her to serve. Despite feeling disgusted and repulsed inside, she still put on a facade of a sweet smile on her face. Is she you a woman? Is she marrying His Royal Highness King of Hell? How is this possible? This news must be fake. Nalen Yurong's voice was high-pitched and sharp, like nails scraping against a slate, creating a grating sound. Chapter 1587. Alone. The one who came to deliver the news was another female disciple of Master Shukong, who was not as beautiful as Nalen Yurong. However, her gaze at Nalen Yurong was filled with a condescending smirk. How can that be impossible? Those who participated in the Nangong family's banquet at Miracle Healer Academy passed the news back. Shiyu is not only a woman but also stunningly beautiful with remarkable talents. At such a young age, she already possesses the peak of the gold core stage. Compared to some useless idiots, she's miles ahead in terms of power. Unlike someone who is a nobody now, she still fantasizes that her Highness King of Hell loves her. TSK, I must admit that I can't match that level of shamelessness. Nalen Yurong's face turned pale, and then anger, sadness, and disbelief painted her expression. She seemingly gave the appearance of an infatuated woman whom the heartless man had let down. The female disciples of Master Shukong sneered. Her tone was sarcastic. Senior Sister Nalen, don't you always think that you are as beautiful as a fairy, and no one doesn't like you? Back then, you used your looks and the Nalen family's Jukalingxian pill to marginalize me so that senior brother and master shun me. Hee, didn't expect this, did you? The tides have turned, and now the Nalen family has fallen. The Jukalingxian pill you brought back is fake, and your body has been defiled by who knows how many old men. What face do you have left to mock me, to ostracize me? Look at those junior brothers and sisters flocking around you now. Do you think they'll spare you another glance? Seeing Nalen Yurong's face getting increasingly sour, the female disciple fell into high spirits. She chuckled as she walked away. Before leaving, she remarked, "Oh, I almost forgot to remind you. The wedding of His Highness King of Hell and Shiyu is set on the 9th of September. Even though you're not invited." Nalen Yurong clenched her fists tightly with both hands and remained frozen. After a long time, she gritted her teeth and shook her head. No. King of Hell Nangong Yu initially proposed to Nalen Heshi for the relics of Enlingyue in her possession. Why would he suddenly want to marry Shiyu? Could it be Enlingyue's relics are already in Shiyu's hands? But why did Shiyu suddenly become a woman? The more Nalen Yurong thought about it, the more anxious she became. A vision of Nangong Yu's handsome and flawless face flashed through her mind, igniting a rush of warmth, followed by a surge of jealousy and burning resentment. Shiyu bitch! If you don't have Enlingyue's relic, how would you have the power and status you hold now? If I have the Enlingyue's relic, I would definitely. Wait a moment. Nalen Yurong's expression suddenly froze, her eyes flickering with a spark of realization. No. When did Shiyu appear? It was over a year ago, the same time as Nalen Hishi's transformation. Also, Sealed Dragon Domain, Tsang Mountain, at the foot of Tsang Mountain, isn't that the courtyard where Nalen Hishi was abandoned? Shiyu is a woman who got Enlingyue's relic. Nangong Yu first proposed to Nalen Heshi, and now he is going to marry Shiyu. What is the connection between this? Could Shiyu and Nalan Heshi be the same person? Nalan Yurong's eyes widened, full of shock and disbelief, followed by hatred. Nalan Heshi, you bitch. You're supposed to be the trash below me. You're the illegitimate daughter of the Nalan family. How did you transform into that stunning Shiyu? Why do you get to marry Nangong, you bitch? Chapter 1588, Swine Disease. No. I will tell everyone that Nalan Heshi is Shiyu. She is the illegitimate daughter, the lowest of the low. Nalan Yurong hurriedly headed for the door. However, just as she reached it, she suddenly stopped. Even if I tell the others that Shiyu is Nalan Heshi, who would believe me? Everyone would treat me as a laughing stock. Nalan Yurong gritted her teeth. A cold glint burst out from her eyes. Nalan Heshi has everything she does now because of Enlingyue's relic. If I could get my hands on that relic... No, I must get that relic. I can't keep living this miserable life. With that thought, Nalan Yurong gritted her teeth and headed to Yanjing City immediately. In the void, several little ones heard the buzzing news from the Miracle Healer Academy and Miracle Healer City. Little Egg strode happily in the void. Oh, my mother is getting married. My mother is really going to get married. Little Egg will have a father in the future. Then I will have a father, a mother, a younger brother, and a younger sister in the future. Ha! Little Egg will no longer be alone. The little golden dragon hovered in the air, casting a disdainful gaze at the little pink pig roaming around in a frolicking manner and little dumb cow trailing behind it. These two embarrassing fellows. Don't tell anyone that I'm with you. Little red bird perched on Xiaoqi's shoulder and chirped, "What is marriage? Can it be eaten? What is this silly pig so excited about? Is it sick? Swine disease? You're the only one with swine disease. You silly bird." Little Egg stopped, shooting the little red bird a fierce glare. It laughed with stars in its eyes. "Oh, what should I do? I've never been to a wedding before. What should I wear? By the way, I want to be a flower boy. I want to sprinkle flower petals for my mother. I want to be a ring boy and deliver the wedding rings. I must dress up nicely. Oh, I'll ask Mom to get me a custom-made outfit." Little golden dragon and little red bird looked confused. Flower boy? Ring boy? Custom-made outfit? What the hell is this? Hearing little red bird's chirping questions, Little Egg put on a proud and coy face, pointed at the little golden dragon, and said arrogantly, "You bunch of bumpkins. You don't even know this bit of common sense and have the nerve to say you're under me. It's embarrassing for me if word gets out." Little golden dragon and little red bird. I really want to beat him up. Little Egg frothed and introduced the marriage scene seen in the TV series to the two. Its memories span tens of thousands of years, mingling with various wedding scenes, plus what it had seen on TV. As a result, its words were a jumbled mess, making little coherent sense. However, little golden dragon and little red bird still understood him. Or rather, they understood one thing. Oh man, weddings do seem like a lot of fun. We're going to play pranks in the bridal chamber and tease the groom, Nangong Yu. Haha, and Nangong Yu can't even fight back. Just thinking about it is so exciting. Suddenly, Little Egg's excitedly drooling, smiling face froze. Its pink face revealed a troubled expression. No, the wedding can't be like that. The procedure is wrong. Little golden dragon and the others looked confused. What's going on? Weren't we all happy just a moment ago? Why the sudden change of heart? Little Egg's mind is unpredictable. Little Egg ignored them but exited the void. Chapter 1589. Deep in love outside the void, Heshi and Nangong Yu were relaxing in the yard of Shengda Hall in Miracle Healer City, basking in the sun. The two did not talk or cultivate but enjoyed this rare quiet moment. Nangong Yu leaned on Heshi's lap, and Heshi's hand gently rested on his head. Those fair and slender fingers, with well-proportioned joints, were like meticulously carved suet jade. They shimmered under the bask of sunlight. The gentle fingers massaged Nangong Yu's temples while pure water spiritual power seeped in through the fingertips, gradually aligning his meridians and spiritual power. The once turbulent spiritual energy seemed to be soothed, sighing in contentment, and then became as docile as a little lamb. A contented and blissful smile appeared on Nangong Yu's face, wishing that this moment could last forever. Unfortunately, that was impossible. Qin Long quickly came in to report, "Master, Xian Wu is seeking an audience." Xian Wu bowed and said, "I've given the clues found at the 7 Stars trapping formation to the old lady. She asked me to tell you that she will definitely root out the culprits behind this. Moreover, the Nangong family has also started questioning some suspects in the Miracle Healer Academy." Xian Wu reported the names and identities of the suspects who were interrogated. Nangong Yu smiled and nodded. "You just need to assist Grandma and let Grandma take the lead in the investigation." Since old lady Nangong wished to make amends with Shiyu, he certainly wouldn't stand in the way. He would be delighted if Shiyu could get along well with his grandmother. Xian Wu bowed in response and was about to leave. However, Nangong Yu suddenly said in a deep voice, "Besides assisting Grandma, I want you to secretly investigate this matter as well, especially regarding those from the Nangong family involved in this matter. But don't alert anyone, especially don't let my grandmother know." Xian Wu paused momentarily but didn't ask any further questions. He bowed again in acknowledgement before quickly departing. Heshi turned to look at him and raised her eyebrows slightly. It seemed to be a faint smile, yet there was a hint of doubt. Nangong Yu adored her expression deeply. He leaned down, kissed her forehead gently and whispered, "My grandmother is getting on in years. There might be oversights in her investigation." He didn't want to doubt old lady Nangong, but he had to be cautious. "When it comes to your safety, I won't tolerate even the slightest oversight. Sheer, if anything were to happen to you, I can't imagine what I might do." A flash of fiery red glinted in Nangong Yu's eyes, and the aura around him seemed to turn almost demonic. Standing not far away, Qin Long trembled all over. A trace of instinctive fear flashed in his eyes. Ever since Nangong Yu suppressed the cold poison in his body in the magical beast forest, his strength had advanced by leaps and bounds, reaching the soul-splitting later stage. However, it seemed as if a malicious energy had taken root within him. This energy would surface whenever he became emotionally stirred, making him act out of character. Heshi hugged him gently and said softly, "Me too. Nangong Yu, you have to protect me, but also protect yourself. Nangong Yu, I don't know what to do if something happens to you." Deep in love, Nangong Yu lowered his head and gently kissed her inviting lips. Qin Long left tacitly. The temperature in the air became warm and sultry little by little. Chapter 1590. I need to talk to you suddenly. With a bang, a pink little pig fell from the sky and hit Nangong Yu on the head. With a gloomy face, Nangong Yu looked at little pink pig, who fell between him and Heshi. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. No one liked to be interrupted when they were in the middle of a sweet moment, exchanging loving words. Little Egg swallowed and thought to himself, "Father is so scary. But Little Egg is a brave little egg. I must move forward bravely for Mother's happiness. Father, I need to talk to you about something." Nangong Yu's gaze was still sharp, giving off a spit it out, get to the point, and then get lost kind of vibe. Little Egg shrank its neck and muttered, "This matter can only be told to you, Father. Mother must not hear about it." Heshi's lips twitched, thinking, "This two-faced rascal. I haven't even gotten married, and he's already cozying up to the new boss." She narrowed her eyes and said coldly, "Is there something he can hear that I can't, Little Egg? Whose spiritual pet are you?" Little Egg shrunk its neck even shorter and looked at Nangong Yu expectantly. Father and Mother look so scary when they're angry. Nangong Yu smirked. He became curious about what the little guy had to say. Could it be a secret about Sheer? Well, there's no harm in listening. Little Egg rambled on and on in the study, speaking very fast. He jumped from one topic to another. However, Nangong Yu understood it, and so did Qin Long, who stood behind Nangong Yu. Qin Long's forehead veins pulsed repeatedly. Even with his usually patient and loyal nature, he couldn't help but twitch his lips and say, "Master, I feel that this matter isn't quite right." Little Egg immediately retorted, "Why not? Little Egg's mother is the best mother in the world. Father, am I right?" Nangong Yu nodded without hesitation. "She is naturally the best. I'm afraid I haven't given her enough. Since Little Egg said it, I will naturally do it." "Wow, that's great." Little Egg cheered happily, then winked at Qinglong and grimaced. "Did you hear that? Father said he would do it." Qinglong looked at Nangong Yu and hesitated to speak. "Master, you are the king of hell." Nangong Yu narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "Qinglong, you sure have become quite chatty lately. Since when did it become your place to question my decisions?" Qinglong dare not. "Since you dare not, follow what Little Egg said and start preparing." The veins on Qinglong's forehead throbbed again, but he bowed and followed the command in the end. Little Egg held his round face, daydreamed about the future scenes and his mother's reaction, and chuckled mischievously. In Heaven No. 1 dormitory, Lu Zixi paced back and forth in her room restlessly. Since the day before yesterday, she was sent back to the Miracle Healer Academy by Lu Shuyang directly. Moreover, 2 nascent soul stage martial artists who were initially assigned to protect her were all recalled by Lu Shuyang. She was abandoned by Lu Shuyang and imprisoned in Miracle Healer Academy, unable to leave. Worse still, without Lu Shuyang's protection, she might not even be able to live in the Heaven dormitory anymore. However, that wasn't Lu Zhixi's biggest concern. What terrified her most was that the entire Miracle Healer Academy was now on edge, with everyone feeling at risk. Old Lady Nangong's investigation was incredibly swift, promptly apprehending and interrogating anyone near the desolate courtyard during the banquet. Chapter 1591. Am I pretty? Many people were taken away from the academy. It stood to reason that Lu Zixi should not be found out so quickly, but she had a bad premonition. Especially after a man named Zhuo Yihao from the Pioneer branch was taken away, Lu Zixi was even more restless. Zhuo Yihao was one of the Gold Core stage martial artists who participated in the 7 Stars trapping formation. If Zhuo Yihao ratted her out, everything would be over for her. Nangong Yu's swift action would be ruthless and heartless. He would not spare her. No, that's impossible. Zhuo Yihao won't rat me out. But what if... Lu Zixi angrily grabbed a vase on the table and threw it on the ground. Why is it that everything seems to be going wrong for me? It's as if the universe is deliberately conspiring against me. Zixi, don't worry. Nangong Yu and the others won't trace it back to us. A pair of hands gripped her shoulders. Even though Lu Zixi wanted to shrug them off in irritation, a sudden warmth surged in her dantian. The voodoo that was lurking in her body became active. Lu Zixi's eyes shifted quickly. She quickly turned around with a weeping expression. She wrapped her arms around the man's neck behind her and said softly, "Yi Zhou, I'm so scared. Will you protect me?" "Of course, I will protect you." The man's voice was hesitant and filled with desire, his hands beginning to wander on Lu Zixi's body. Lu Zixi's breath was sweet as she leaned towards the man. "Yi Zhou, I like you the most. What about you? Do you like me?" "I do." The man gazed at her with deep affection. Unable to contain himself any longer, he leaned down fiercely, capturing Lu Zixi's lips with his while his hands forcefully tore at her clothing. The room quickly filled with intimate sighs and moans. A sly smile flashed in Lu Zixi's eyes. After a while, the noise in the room finally subsided completely. Lu Zixi refreshedly got up from the bed and walked barefoot to the crystal-clear mirror. Her reflection in the mirror was enchanting, appearing a few years younger, yet with a seductive charm that could make any man's heart race just by looking at her. Lu Zixi laughed heartily as the wind blew in from outside the room, lifting the bed curtains and revealing the silhouette inside. The young man, who was still alive and kicking just now, looked withered. He was on the brink of death, as if his vitality had been drained away. However, the scariest thing was the satisfied smile. He kept muttering, "Ishik, let's do it again." Hearing his murmur, Lu Zixi sneered. She waved his hand, revealing a gap in the bed. The dying man fell through the gap. From below, faint roars of beasts could be heard. The bed soon reverted to its original state. Then, another student from the pioneer branch hurried in from the yard. When Hu Jianfei first entered, he was sweating profusely. His eyes filled with anxiety and panic. However, he was immediately entranced upon seeing Li Zixi, who looked as radiant and enticing as a dew-kissed rose. He put all urgent matters to the back of his mind. Lu Zixi turned around and saw Hu Jianfei's infatuated expression. A trace of disdain flashed in her eyes, but she gracefully extended her fingers and beckoned Hu Jianfei, saying, "Come here." Hu Jianfei walked over. He couldn't help but swallow when he saw Lu Zixi's deliberately exposed shoulders and chest. Lu Zixi smiled with satisfaction. "Am I pretty?" Hu Jianfei nodded repeatedly. "Am I prettier or she you?" "Of course, you are prettier. Zixi, I really love you to death." Chapter 1592. Time to reel in the net. After speaking, Hu Jianfei could no longer hold back. He hurriedly rushed toward Lu Zixi. Lu Zixi wore a smug grin. Another victim just delivered himself to her doorstep to boost her cultivation. How could she possibly turn him away? These idiots of the Miracle Healer Academy come to me willingly. It will be a waste if I don't take advantage of these nourishments. As long as my strength improves, I will trample Shi Yu and Lu Shuyang under my feet. The room became steamy once again. No one noticed that outside the window, a person was coldly looking at the dirty and corrupt scene inside. Those eyes seemed to be a bottomless abyss. Through absorbing the strength of others, she has reached the middle stage of the gold core stage. Kai Yu clenched his hands slowly, but a cold and mocking smile surfaced. "Lu Zixi, you have no idea that your demise is approaching, do you?" When He came out of the library, she saw Nangong Yu waiting outside with a smile. Willows swaying gently, a soft breeze blowing. The man standing beneath the willow trees was a sight to behold, as picturesque as a painting or poetic verse. Heshi's mood became indescribably soft and peaceful. She remembered back in college when she was on assignments, she often saw boyfriends waiting outside the library for their girlfriends. The two would then stroll hand in hand by the river, a scene both romantic and sweet. But at that time, she never thought that such simple sweetness would belong to her one day. Heshi stepped forward quickly and took Nangong Yu's hand. Suddenly, she turned her eyes and saw the back of a man leaving, which seemed familiar. That person seems to be Caillou. I heard that after he came out of Spirit Extinct Valley, he chose to stay with Lu Zixi again. It seemed like he was talking to Nangong Yu just now. Heshi raised her eyebrows slightly and said, "Was that Caillou just now? What did he want with you?" Nangong Yu chuckled. "To be precise, he came to look for you, but I intercepted him." Heshi rolled his eyes at her man. This guy is shameless for saying such a thing. Lately, Nangong Yu didn't go back to Jinling Kingdom to prepare the wedding banquet. Instead, he stuck to her side non-stop. Anyone from the Miracle Healer Academy trying to approach her was shooed away, all under the guise of protecting her safety. He's jealous. Heshi was annoyed and amused, and then a hint of doubt crept into her mind. She always felt that Nangong Yu was being secretive lately, unsure of what he was up to. Along with that, the Huang medical branch people were also acting mysteriously. It was as if everyone was in on something, and she was the only one out. However, Heshi never took the initiative to ask. If Nangong Yu wasn't sharing, he had his reasons. She would find out when the time was right. "What does Caillou want from me?" A cold light flashed across Nangong Yu's eyes. He said in a deep voice, "It's nothing. Just that the net I cast out, it's time to reel it in." Lu Zixi woke up suddenly from her sleep and sat up sweating profusely. Her face was full of horror. She looked around and realized she was in her room. Off to the side, several disheveled men were scattered about. "Oh, I'm not in a prison cell. There are no torture devices on me. Luckily, it's just a dream." Those men were students from the Miracle Healer Academy. They had spent intimate moments with Lu Zixi last night. Some of them were so drained that they were unrecognizable, clearly beyond help. Lu Zixi sneered dismissively. With a single pat on the bed, the two men, drained of their fundamental essence, fell off. Chapter 1593. The arrest. The other men woke up and looked at Lu Jishi obsessively, longing for her. They were so spaced out that they didn't even notice that a few of the guys beside them had disappeared. Obviously, these people had lost their minds entirely because of Lu Jishi's charm. Lu Jishi circulated the spiritual power in her body. I have reached the peak of the gold core stage. I just need to absorb the fundamental essence of a few more individuals to progress to the nascent soul stage. There was a hideous smile on her face. All she needed now was time. I just need more time, and I can take control of everyone in Miracle Healer Academy. Shiyu is a nobody. Even Nangong Yu will be my servant. At that thought, Lu Jishi embraced the man approaching her, preparing to absorb his fundamental essence. Suddenly, a loud rumble came from the barrier outside the courtyard. Immediately afterward, uniform footsteps stormed into the courtyard of the Heaven Dormitory. A chilling voice echoed from the shadows. Lu Jishi, Hu Jianfei, Zhang Chongwen, the Dean's Disciplinary Department has ordered us to bring you in immediately to investigate the incident of framing Shiyu that day. Any resistance will be met with lethal force. That voice alerted everyone who was still immersed in pleasure in the room. Lu Jishi's face was filled with panic. She exclaimed, "They've figured me out? How did they find out so soon? This can't be right." Hu Jianfei was already exhausted and thrown under the bed. Zhang Chongwen, whose name was mentioned, had a gaunt face. His cultivation was greatly diminished, but he still gazed at Lu Jishi obsessively and said, "Jishi, we will protect you." "That's right. We will protect you even if it takes our life." Looking at the obsession in these people's eyes, Lu Jishi didn't feel relieved at all but panicked even more. How can this bunch of weaklings protect me? I'm surrounded by nascent soul stage masters. Asshole! I will surely attain the nascent soul stage if I have more time. Then I can break through the barrier of Miracle Healer Academy. Am I going to be captured just like that by Nangong Yu? Lu Jishi recalled Nangong Yu's ruthlessness. There was no hesitation when he killed Nangong Exing. Lu Jishi shook her head in panic, shouting, "No. I don't want to be taken away. Get out there and stop them. Do whatever it takes, just keep them away." The men bewitched by Lu Jishi didn't have the slightest fear or hesitation when they heard those words. They ran out without even putting on their clothes. Outside, the sounds of fighting and the screams of Lu Jishi's toy boys echoed. Lu Jishi hastily put on some clothes and escaped through the window beside her. "Lu Jishi is here." Lu Jishi had only taken a few steps when a stern shout echoed from behind her. She turned pale with fright, wanting to exert her spiritual power to escape. However, the courtyard was sealed, and she couldn't fly away. More and more footsteps rushed toward her. Lu Jishi was so frightened that she was trembling all over. "It's over. I can't escape. There's no way out of here." Suddenly, a cold hand grabbed her. A low and hoarse voice rang in her ears, "Follow me." Lu Jishi was startled. She immediately recognized the person, Kai Yu. Surprised and delighted, she grabbed Kai Yu's wrist as if holding the last straw of hope. "Kai Yu, save me, you must save me." Kai Yu threw a strange pill in his hand. As it fell to the ground, it exploded with a bang, emitting a dazzling white light. The pursuers were blinded, halting their movements. Seizing the moment, Kai Yu grabbed Lu Jishi, and they escaped together. Chapter 1594. Exploit in a remote and cold corner of Miracle Healer Academy. Lu Jishi looked disheveled. She hid tremblingly in the shadows, looking out occasionally like a startled bird. "Don't worry. We've temporarily escaped our pursuers. However, Iron Kirins are searching everywhere in Miracle Healer Academy. We won't be able to hide for long." Kai Yu's steady voice came from behind. Lu Jishi panicked, grabbed Kai Yu's hand, and said tremblingly, "Kai Yu, you must save me. You're the only one I can rely on now." Her face was pale with fright as she spoke, but her eyes shone brightly as if she had turned into a whirlpool that could suck people in. Kai Yu sneered from the bottom of his heart. "You're still trying to bewitch me at this time. However, he revealed a distressed and loyal expression. Jishi, don't worry. I will protect you. Lu Jishi didn't suspect Kaiyu because she was used to the toy boys obeying her. The lower their cultivation level and the more intimate encounters they had with her, the harder it was for them to escape her control. Although Kaiyu didn't have sex with him, his low level of cultivation combined with his previous infatuation meant he would head over heels for her. Lu Jishi took a breath before asking, "Why? How did they find out about me so quickly?" Kaiyu said gravely, "Everyone who was part of setting up the 7 Stars trapping formation, except Hu Jianfei and Zhang Chongwen, were arrested. I watched them get tortured. Wang Junfeng broke under the pressure and spilled everything. Because of my connection with Zhang and the others, I tricked the guards and sneaked out." Lu Jishi didn't doubt Kaiyu's escape but immediately exclaimed, "Impossible! How could he confess so easily?" "He fell for me." Lu Jishi didn't finish her sentence, agitatedly scratching the corner of the wall. Her disbelief transformed into anger under Kaiyu's steadfast gaze. "Useless trash. Wang Junfeng, that useless fool. I can't believe I let him join in on the 7 Stars trapping formation. He betrayed me so easily. I should have killed them earlier. Kill all of them." After letting out a low growl for some time, the noise drew the attention of the patrolling Iron Kirin soldiers. Startled, Lu Jishi quickly ducked back into the corner. She grabbed Kaiyu's hand and cried softly, "Kaiyu, the only one I can trust now is you. You must help me." "How do you want me to help you?" After a brief pause, a light sparked in Lu Jishi's eyes. "That's it. You divert their attention, and I'll slip out of the Miracle Healer Academy." "Perfect." Kaiyu gave her a cold, unrelenting stare, making Lu Jishi feel deeply uneasy. He said indifferently, "The Miracle Healer Academy's barrier is already in place. Even if I lure them away, you can't escape without a special inscribed jade slip." "What am I supposed to do?" Lu Jishi cried in fear. "Am I just meant to sit here and wait for my doom? No way can I get caught by Nangongyu. He'd tear me apart. Kaiyu, can you try to get that inscribed jade slip for me?" A brief smirk of sarcasm crossed Kaiyu's eyes, but he answered soothingly, "Jishi, don't worry. I might not have the inscribed jade slip to get out of the Miracle Healer Academy, but I did get my hands on the inscribed teleportation jade slip to Sun Moon Mountain Range. We can escape to the Sun Moon Mountain Range first, lay low for a bit, and return when the coast is clear." "Sun Moon Mountain Range?" Lu Jishi murmured, her face reflecting a mix of emotions. Chapter 1595. Petty Sun Moon Mountain Range is dangerous. Every corner of the mountain range is filled with magical beasts, offering no sanctuary for a peaceful rest. If it's just the two of us venturing into that place, it's too dangerous. However, Sun Moon Mountain Range might just be the safest bet. With its vast expanse, surely I wouldn't be so easily found within its confines. Thinking of this, Lu Jishi grabbed Kaiyu's hand and excitedly said, "Okay, great. Let's go to Sun Moon Mountain Range." In the Heaven No. 1 dormitory where Lu Jishi lived, a gap had formed where her bed used to be, uncovering a hidden cellar below. Beast roars could be heard intermittently from the cellar below. Dean Li Qingchuan of the Heaven Medical Branch waved his hand. In no time, numerous things floated up from the depths. It took Li Qingchuan some time to recognize them through their clothes and accessories. They were 2 of the Heaven Medical Branch's brightest students who had reached the Gold Core stage at a young age. "Lu Jishi!" Li Qingchuan exclaimed angrily, "She really did this to my students? I won't let her get away with it." Zheng Shouyue furrowed his brows and said, "It looks like Lu Jishi has absorbed their fundamental essence and cultivation. No wonder there's a rumor that Lu Jishi has advanced from the middle stage to the late stage of the Gold Core stage overnight." Li Qingchuan angrily waved his hand and commanded, "Search. Search every nook and cranny. Even if we have to turn the entire Miracle Healer Academy upside down, we must find that witch. I won't let that woman who has harmed our academy get away." The elders of the Miracle Healer Academy and the members of the Academy Student Council took action and joined the Iron Kirin to search for Lu Jishi. From a distance, He watched the furiously Qingquan and Zheng Shouyue. She suddenly glanced at the man beside him and said teasingly, "Didn't you already know where Lu Zhishi's was? Why did you let Iron Kirin put on a show, searching high and low?" Nangong Yu leaned down to kiss her, smiling calmly. "That woman has tried repeatedly to harm you with vicious schemes. If I let her die easily, wouldn't that be letting her off too lightly? I've heard she always used to have the upper hand, driving others into a corner. Well, this time, let her taste the bitterness of being abandoned by everyone and being chased like a rat on the street." He chuckled. "So, you also knew that these Miracle Healer Academy students would become Lu Zhishi's fodder?" Even though it was a question, she said it in confidence. Especially when Nangong Yu had already identified Lu Zhishi as the prime suspect, how could he not keep an eye on her cultivation and movements? Nangong Yu smiled. A dark gleam appeared in his eyes. Isn't it more interesting to give her hope and then snatch it away, rather than sending her straight to hell? He can be pretty petty. He chuckled and playfully poked Nangong Yu's hand. "All right, okay, Your Royal Highness King of Hell. So, where are we going next to watch the show?" Nangong Yu grabbed her hand, kissed it, and smiled. "Sheer, you will find out if you come with me." Chapter 1596. Temptation night had fully descended over the Sun-Moon Mountain range. The chilly wind blew briskly, accompanied by the rustling of leaves and the distant roars of magical beasts. Lu Zhishi, wrapped in the clothes she took out from her storage ring, looked around vigilantly. It was the low-level magical beast area of the Sun-Moon Mountain range, home to only the 3rd and 4th rank magical beasts. It should not pose any danger to Lu Zhishi. However, whenever she heard the magical beasts roar, she would shudder. Caillou walked into the cave. He brushed off the dust from his clothes. "I haven't found any pursuers yet. You should eat something and rest for a while." Lu Zhishi did not accept the spiritual fruit in Caillou's hand. Instead, she pulled on his clothes and wrapped an arm around his neck, asking, "Caillou, do you like me?" The enchanting voice was gentle and charming, with deep temptation. Lu Zhishi had already made up her mind. "What's the use of Caillou staying by my side? His hand is crippled, rendering him unable to wield his sword. Instead of keeping him around, it's better to take away his fundamental essence. Maybe I will attain the nascent soul stage this time. Once I reach the nascent soul stage, the magical beasts in the Sun-Moon Mountain range are no match for me. My escape from the pursuers will be guaranteed, too." Thinking of this, Lu Zhishi's voice became softer. "Caillou, you have helped me so much. I don't know how to repay you, so I can only dedicate myself to you." Caillou's eyes were deep, and a fleeting smirk came across his face. However, he showed a fascinated expression, grabbing Lu Zhishi's hand and handing the spiritual fruit to her. "Zhishi, you should eat the spiritual fruit first. I picked it for you." Lu Zhishi was impatient but still swallowed the fruit quickly. Following that, she felt her body growing increasingly warm. Hallucination appeared before her eyes. It was as if the man holding her was not Caillou but the Nangong Yu she longed for. Lu Zhishi chuckled. "Nangong Yu, I knew it. I knew you liked me. Compared to me, Shiyu is nothing, huh?" After a while, the person before her turned into Qishan in the soul-splitting stage. "Ugly bastard, if it weren't for your cultivation, I wouldn't want a toad like you to touch me. Haha, but your fundamental essence is all mine." Lu Zhishi hugged the person before her and clung to him frantically, tearing his clothes with both hands without stopping. Early the following day, Lu Zhishi woke up to a sharp, stinging pain all over her body. She groaned in pain. Upon opening her eyes, she realized that she was still in the cave. Her clothes were tattered and barely covered her. Her body had numerous minor scrapes as if she'd been rubbed against rough stones. Lu Zhishi glanced to the side. She quickly spotted a withered, mummified corpse. Its original appearance was utterly unrecognizable. Next to the mummy lay the clothes that Caillou wore yesterday. Lu Zhishi stood up and kicked the mummy aside, her eyes full of disgust. When she discovered that her cultivation was still at the gold core stage and hadn't advanced to the nascent soul stage, She stepped on the mummy and grunted, "Useless trash. I have absorbed your cultivation fully until you're a dried corpse, but I haven't attained the nascent soul stage. You're so useless." Lu Jishi took out another piece of clothing from the storage ring. Then she treated her wounds with spiritual power before leaving. She felt that this place was too close to the teleportation array. If the pursuers came after her, she would be found immediately. She wanted to go to the area with higher rank magical beasts. Chapter 1597. Illusion Array. Lu Jishi darted through the forest and mountains until she was nearly drained of her spiritual energy. Finally, she settled in a spot that seemed relatively safe. I should have entered the 5th and 6th rank magical beast area. Lu Jishi found a cave. She planned to rest here tonight. After entering the high-rank magical beast area, it would take a lot of work to find her. However, as soon as she entered the cave, Lu Jishi's figure froze. Her wide eyes radiated a look of disbelief and horror. So, what did she see in the cave? It was the same rocks and the ashes of the grass pile from yesterday. Even Kaiyu's mummified corpse was in the same spot. Ah! Lu Jishi screamed in horror. She dashed out of the cave as if fleeing for her life, plunging into the darkness. Half an hour later, Lu Jishi saw the familiar cave again. She had been flying at full speed, pushing herself to the limit. It can't be. It's impossible to return to this place. Impossible. Lu Jishi trembled and slowly walked into the cave, only to once again see the mummified corpse of Kaiyu. She had a total breakdown. Kaiyu, is this your doing? Is it you playing tricks? Show yourself. Come out. The cave was empty. Only her shrill voice echoed. Sub Kaiyu, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please spare me. Lu Jishi threw herself on the ground and cried loudly, then fell asleep exhausted. When she woke up again, she found her situation had not improved. In fact, it had become even more dire. Lu Jishi realized that she could not exert her spiritual power. Her storage ring wasn't functioning. All the food, magic weapons, and clothes could not be taken out. No. I won't die like this. Lu Jishi shook her head frantically. She then rushed out of the cave. Someone must be plotting against me. I must have fallen into some illusion. That's right. Everything will be fine after I exit the illusion array. I will not die. I will never give up so easily. Despite the distance, Heshi and the others could see Lu Jishi's situation clearly on the high hill. Qian Dezhuang, who was standing behind Heshi, said, "How many days has she been like this?" "It must have been quite some days." Qing Wan chuckled, "But she's impressively resilient. Ordinary people would have gone crazy long ago." Jin Ziyu said lightly, "How can a woman who is so cruel and vicious be an ordinary person? It's been a whole half-month. Most people would have broken down or even ended their lives in such a dire situation. Yet she didn't just survive. She didn't hesitate to seduce any man she encountered in the illusion, wanting to drain them dry. A woman like that would go to any lengths, no matter how wicked, to achieve her goals." It seemed half a month had passed. Meanwhile, Lu Jishi almost lost her sanity in the 7-death illusion array. She could never get out of that cave, nor could she find food or water. Every time she walked back to the cave, she would see the mummified corpse, as if reminding her that she was still living in hell and couldn't break free. Compared with the dead Kaiyu, her situation was even more miserable. In the illusion array, Lu Jishi was starving to the point of hallucinating delicious food and spiritual fruits. Dressed in tattered clothes, with disheveled hair full of knots and dust, she drooled incessantly, pleading, "Food. Give me food. I need water, ta." Chapter 1598. Gravence's biting into it is just amazing. The fruit is so tasty, and the grilled meat smells so good. It's just too delicious. Ah, I finally got some food. I'm saved at last. Lu Jishi was ecstatic, eating and laughing at the same time. This scene fell in the eyes of Qing Wan and the others, but she was so disgusted that she was about to throw up. Instead of grilled meat, Lu Jishi was eating her limbs. One bite at a time. Her mouth was dripping with blood, and the bones of her limbs were exposed. However, she didn't notice it and kept saying, "It's delicious." Hushi glanced at the man who was silently observing the scene from a distance. Leaning lazily in Nangong Yu's embrace, she asked, "Kai Yu, have you settled your grievances now?" She and Nangong Yu couldn't stand Lu Jishi like she was a pesky bug. They could only gain peace after squashing it. At most, they would let Lu Jishi taste more pain before crushing her to death. However, the situation was different for Kai Yu. His hatred now equaled the love he once had for Lu Jishi, and his ruthlessness now matched the loyalty he once showed. Kai Yu crafted the entire plan to capture Lu Jishi. Nangong Yu was simply in a good mood and went along with Kai Yu, ensuring that Lu Jishi met an even more tragic end. Kai Yu smiled slightly. His expression seemed to have returned to the sunny and healthy Academy Student Council president. "It's over. Shiyu, I'm sorry for what happened back then, and thank you." Hushi didn't comment on it. Then, Kai Yu's figure flickered, flying toward the 7-death illusion array. Qian Dezhuang said with eagerness, "Shiyu, let's go see what's going on. That bitch, Lu Jishi, did a number on our master back in the day." Chen Xiaofeng also chimed in, "That's right. We don't steal Kai Yu's spotlight, but adding insult to her injury is fine." Hushi smiled. "No kidding, of course, I want to see what happens to Lu Jishi." Lu Jishi hurt her the most, and she didn't mind adding insult to injury at all. Lu Jishi was biting her arm frantically when suddenly, a figure appeared in front of her. She lifted her head, her vision blurry. Upon seeing Kai Yu's face, she gritted her teeth and snarled, "Kai Yu, it's you again, always haunting me like a pestering ghost. Come at me. I'm not afraid of you. You're not even real. You've been dead and gone, all dried up because of me. Even if you can't get over it, so what? You idiot, I never cared about you. You were just a pawn on my chessboard, huh?" Kai Yu gently waved his hand. The 7-death illusion array imposed on the surrounding area disappeared. Lu Jishi's laughter stopped as a piercing pain came from her arms and legs. Her once muddled mind slowly cleared up. Everything before her eyes was no longer hazy and unclear. Instead, her circumstances were laid bare in front of her. Ah! The bloody bite marks on her hands and feet and the exposed white bones laid bare before her eyes. She couldn't hold back any longer and let out a hysterical scream. Kai Yu watched her state condescendingly and smirked. "Lu Jishi, is your own flesh delicious? How does it feel to lose your limbs?" As he spoke, he raised his hand. Although it looked intact, it had long since become useless, all because of Lu Jishi. Chapter 1599. Tit for tat. Lu Jishi stopped screaming. She raised her head, revealing a gaunt face. In just half a month, her face became dirty and ugly. She even had wrinkles at the corners of her eyes. "Kai Yu!" Lu Jishi suddenly yelled sharply, "How are you still alive? Why are you still alive? How is this possible? Didn't I drain my fundamental essence?" Kai Yu smirked mockingly and disgusted. "Lu Jishi, just seeing you makes my stomach turn. Do you think I would let you touch me, let alone drain my fundamental essence? Don't you like to use the 7 stars trapping formation very much? How does it feel to replace the confinement runes in the formation with illusion runes, getting trapped inside without a way out? Enjoying it?" Lu Jishi froze all of a sudden. Her deeply sunken, bloodshot eyes stared at Kai Yu as if it was the first day she knew this person. Then, she saw several figures descend from the sky behind Kai Yu. Shiyu, Nangong Yu, Jinzyu. Everyone looked at her mockingly, as if they were looking down at a dirty maggot. Especially Shiyu, she was so glamorous, so blissfully happy, in stark contrast to her misery. Lu Jishi suddenly seemed to realize something and hysterically screamed at Kai Yu, "It was you! Kai Yu, you betrayed me, didn't you? This is all your fault." Kai Yu sneered, "Betray you? Lu Jishi, after the way you treated me, did you really think I'd still be loyal to you? Are you too overconfident, or have you just become hopelessly stupid? I never betrayed you. I just repaid the grudge from when you sent someone to kill me in the Spirit Extinct Valley to kill me. Lu Zhishi's body trembled with agitation. She didn't hear anything else Caillou said. All she knew was that Caillou had betrayed and harmed her. Otherwise, she would have escaped. Caillou, you traitor! I will kill you! Kill you! Since the 7-death illusion array dissipated, Lu Zhishi's spiritual power in the Dantian recovered swiftly. She rushed toward Caillou like a madwoman. Caillou sneered and took a step back. A black shadow sprang from his waist, rushing toward Lu Zhishi's forehead. It was a flash of black sword light. Before Lu Zhishi could get close, it pierced through her forehead, followed by a loud bang. Lu Zhishi was dead. Half of her head was blown apart, a gruesome sight to behold. When she died, she still didn't want to believe it, let alone accept it. She didn't die in the hands of Shiyu, nor in the hands of Nangongyu, but in the hands of Caillou. A pawn that she used by the sword of trash she looked down upon. In Spirit Extinct Valley, what kept him alive were these unexpected and surprising attack methods. Zhang Chong came forward from the crowd behind him. He said hoarsely, "Brother Kai, I'm sorry. I didn't believe you back then." Caillou smiled. "How can I blame you? I lied to you intentionally." Zhang Chong was still full of guilt. "Thank you for supporting our novels. Your comment, interaction, and just by reading the novels are a great support to us. Discover what unfolds next by accessing the chapters before anyone else. Your support means the world to us. Click here to access our support page. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1600. Wait another few days. Only now did Zhang Chong realize that Caillou had returned to Lu Zhishi's side to seek revenge. That's right. Brother Kai used to be such an upright, decisive, and capable person, so how could he be a fool controlled by lust? Zhang Chong wished he could do something to compensate Caillou. Zhang Chong suddenly thought of something, turned around to look at Heshi, and asked hopefully, "Shiyu, can Caillou's hand be healed?" Heshi said calmly, "The atrophy of the meridians in the hand isn't incurable. It can naturally be cured. However, it takes a long time, with gradual treatment and an extended period of rehabilitation. Even after healing, it will remain fragile. Any attack may cause the meridians to tear open. However, choosing the profession of refining equipment shouldn't be an issue." Zhang Chongyue's eyes brightened with every word he heard. By the end, he rushed to Heshi, pleading, "Shiyu, please heal Brother Kai's hand. I'll repay you however you want, even if it means working as a slave for you." Heshi was about to speak, but Nangongyu grabbed her shoulders and sneered, "Forget about it. Shiyu will not be free for the coming months." As Nangongyu said that, he was about to shoo them away. Heshi was amused. She threw a porcelain bottle to Caillou. "For now, take these meridian cleansing pills for a while, and you will gradually see improvement. Later, find me in Jinling Kingdom. I'll provide a complete treatment to you." Caillou caught the pills. His usually calm face slowly crumbled, and his eyes began to well up with tears. He tightly clutched the pills in his hand. Although weak, a surge of boundless hope welled up within him. He owed Shiyu so much. One day, I would repay her for everything. I definitely would. The person who framed Shiyu at that wedding banquet was ultimately traced back to Lu Zhishi. This served as a way for the old lady Nangong to make amends to Shiyu. Lu Zhishi died, and the ordeal finally came to an end. Old lady Nangong took Nangongyu's hand and said, "I'm happy for you to have found the love of your life. I'll be returning to Siam continent now, but when you get married, I'll come to attend your wedding." Standing behind old lady Nangong, Nangong Hua sneered and said coldly, "It's just marrying a woman from the lower realm. What's the point of participating? It's a disgrace to our Nangong family." "Oh, it's just nice you don't want to attend. I never planned to invite you to my wedding either." "You?" Nangongyu was puzzled but still nodded. Standing not far away, Xianwu watched old lady Nangong leave the Miracle Healer Academy. His brows were furrowed, seemingly having his mind burdened by thoughts. Seeing his attitude, Qin Long asked in bafflement, "Xianwu, what's wrong?" Xianwu opened his mouth, wanted to say something, but swallowed the words back. After all, old lady Nangong is the master's relative, the only grandmother the master respected. If I only have suspicions without evidence, I shouldn't make baseless accusations, right? Thinking of this, Xianwu shook his head and said, "Nothing. Should we prepare to return to the Jinling kingdom? After all, the master's wedding is around the corner." However, Qin Long clicked his tongue. He coughed lightly. "Perhaps we might need to wait another few days." "Why the wait? Doesn't the master always talk about bringing the princess home?" "You'll find out soon." Chapter 1601. Dating. As soon as Heshi stepped out of the library, Qing Luan greeted her with a mischievous grin. "Miss, this is a letter from Master." Qing Luan handed out the inscribed jade slip in her hand and winked at Heshi. Heshi took the inscribed jade slip suspiciously and inspected it through divine sense. The written content was straightforward. It was a simple map. Someone wrote flamboyantly at a spot on the map, "Sheer, I will wait for you here, see you soon." Heshi felt puzzled. Just as she was going to ask Qing Luan about the letter, Qing Luan dashed off with a giggle. She shook her head helplessly and smiled. "Nangong Yu, what are you up to?" It was nearing dusk, the sun slowly setting, and the sky growing darker. When Heshi arrived at the valley marked on the map, the valley seemed to be bathed in a layer of golden-orange glow, looking serene and breathtakingly beautiful. The well-dressed Nangong Yu stood at the valley's entrance, greeting Heshi with a gentle smile. The scene enchanted Heshi. A flash of fleeting pleasant surprise shone in her eyes. She had always known that her man was handsome and outstanding. However, under the compliment of the sunset, she truly saw just how remarkable and irresistibly charming he was. Her heart raced as if it might leap out of her chest. A rush of warmth surged through her. She blushed, wanting to throw herself into his arms immediately. Despite that, Heshi only smiled playfully and asked, "Nangong Yu, what are you doing?" Nangong Yu's eyes were tender and affectionate, gazing deeply into hers. His magnetic voice echoed softly in the twilight. "Sheer, we've known each other for a year. From the moment we met and fell in love to the verge of our wedding, I realized I've never truly dated or given you any romantic surprises. I've been remiss as a boyfriend." Heshi was both surprised and amused. "Who taught you these? It must be that naughty little egg, right? Otherwise, how would Nangong Yu, a man from ancient times, know about modern concepts like dating, a romantic surprise, and even call himself a boyfriend?" In the void, Little Egg grimaced at the outside world and then exchanged glances with the other little creatures. With a flash, they all disappeared into the void. Even Shao-Chi had left. Although Heshi noticed it, she thought they wanted to play in the valley, so she didn't bother. Nangong Yu reached out his hand and whispered, "Sheer, would you like to go on a date with me?" Heshi smiled brightly, her eyes radiating a gentle and sweet warmth. Her delicate hand reached into Nangong Yu's palm, saying, "I would be honored." His broad palm enveloped her slender hand, and their fingers intertwined tightly. The light in Nangong Yu's eyes shone like stars in the night sky, holding the girl's hand. It was as if he owned the whole world. The two did not speak and strolled quietly in the valley. As night gradually fell, bringing with it a slight chill. However, the lovebirds remained utterly oblivious to it. Nangong Yu stopped when they arrived at a lake. There were no stars or clouds tonight. The lake appeared pitch black, emitting a cold, eerie glow. Anyone who accidentally stumbled upon this place might find it creepy and terrifying. However, martial artists with advanced cultivation, like Heshi, naturally were unfazed. She was only curious about what Nangong Yu wanted to do when he brought her here. Chapter 1602. Yes, I do. Nangong Yu suddenly released her hand and whispered, Shia, close your eyes. I have a second gift for you. Heshi tilted her head, looking at him with a playful curiosity, but obediently closed her eyes. She felt a gentle breeze by her ear and a warm touch brushing past it as if handling the most precious treasure. Heshi, feeling ticklish, shrank her neck a little. Soon after, she heard Nangong Yu's soft voice in her ear. Heshi, it's done. Open your eyes. As soon as she opened his eyes, Heshi was stunned. She closed them due to a conditioned reflex and then slowly opened them again. What entered her eyes was the view of a beautiful valley like a fairyland. A lush green meadow stretched out before her, dotted with vibrant blossoms in full bloom. The once pitch-black night sky suddenly lit up with countless twinkling stars and a radiant moon. It illuminated the valley as if it were day, yet with the unique intimacy and tranquility only night could bring. Heshi took a sharp intake of breath and looked around. The gloomy and cold lake just now had become entirely different. Colorful butterflies fluttered through the air, leaving behind brilliant trails of glowing light. Ahead of the lake was a cascading waterfall, with water splashing everywhere. The sparkling droplets scattered in the air seemed like stars from the sky, shattered and sprinkled all around. Some said that those who loved you would be willing to do everything for you, even if it was chasing the stars and moon. In the past, Heshi would think it was a hypocritical joke. However, at this moment she felt it was so real. Everything before her eyes felt like a beautiful dream. Yet, this dream was meticulously crafted by Nangong Yu just for her. Every blade of grass, every ray of light, held a testament to Nangong Yu's feelings for her. She looked at Nangong Yu, her eyes slowly filling with warmth and emotion. Nangong Yu put on a gentle and handsome smile, but the nervousness in his eyes betrayed him. Shir, do you like it? For this day, he couldn't fall asleep for several nights because he feared he would mess up. Heshi nodded and said softly, I like it. No girl would not like such a romantic and beautiful dream, especially since this dream was woven by the one she loved. Nangong Yu took a deep breath. Under the starry night and moonlight, in this beautiful valley surrounded by butterflies and waterfalls, he bent one knee and knelt slowly. The evening wind gently blew the man's black satin-like hair, revealing his flawless face. A man who could easily charm countless young women was now nervously kneeling before her, with sweaty palms, yet firmly holding up a crystal-clear ring. Shiyu, will you marry me and become my wife, forever and always, standing by my side? Is this a proposal? This was a scene that appeared in many romance dramas. Even if Heshi hadn't been exposed to them, there was no way she wouldn't know. She thought she didn't care about these gestures. She believed that if a man proposed to her one day, she'd scoff at it, even calling it boring. However, it turned out that this was not the case. Tears welled up in her eyes uncontrollably, dampening the corners of her eyes. For the first time, Heshi understood what it meant to cry tears of joy and feel happiness and emotion that shook her soul. Seeing her tears, Nangong Yu's face was flustered for a moment. Before he could speak, Heshi had already stepped forward, held Nangong Yu's hand holding the ring, and said sobbingly, Yes, I do. Chapter 1603, Forever Love, Boom, Boom, Boom. As soon as Heshi finished speaking, the lake before her ejected dozens of water jets, forming a fountain shimmering with iridescent lights. At the same time, countless pink petals rained down from the sky, fluttering down gracefully. It was a breathtaking sight. The butterflies that were once fluttering close to the ground suddenly soared upward, weaving together and casting beautiful patterns in the air. Heshi looked up, appreciating the view of petals falling from the sky. Hearing the distant and the melodious music coming from nowhere, she couldn't help but let out a soft chuckle. Little Egg even prepared a music fountain and scattered flowers. Can this be even more outrageous? Just as she was thinking, she was suddenly pulled into a strong, warm embrace, and was held tightly. Just as Heshi was about to say something, the passionate kiss stopped her with emotion flooding her. Stars twinkled in the night, the moon shone brightly, water murmured gently, and petals fell all around them. They hugged and kissed each other deeply in such a fairyland and made a vow for a lifetime. Hee, little golden dragon, did you see that? Mother was so moved that she cried just now. Little egg, you are too young. This scene is not suitable for children. Don't look at it. Bad by who, don't cover my eyes. You are underage, not me. Chatters came from afar. Heshi blushed and pushed Nangongyu away. Her cheeks were so hot that it felt like burning. Her emotions overtook her. She totally forgot about others being nearby and got so lost in Nangongyu's kiss. Nangongyu, however, seemed totally cool with it, wearing a satisfied grin. He grabbed Heshi's hand, slipping a silver ring onto her ring finger. With a slight cough, he said, "Some people say that this is the closest place to your heart. With this ring here, I can capture your heart forever." He was so thrilled hearing Shishue say, "Yes, I do," that he totally spaced on the way Little Egg showed him how to put on the ring. Heshi stretched out her hand to look at the ring on her hand, smiling to herself. She couldn't figure out what it was made of. It felt like metal but was so much smoother and finer. She tilted her head to look at Nangongyu and said, "It's not fair that you are the only one who traps my heart. I want to claim your heart too." Nangongyu was about to take out another ring when Heshi took out a simple man's ring from the void. Heshi discovered this ring in the sealed dragon domain. Surprisingly, it had no special attributes, nor did it serve any purpose in talisman, array, or martial art. However, oddly enough, such an ordinary ring had existed for thousands of years without any signs of decay or rust. Finding it peculiar, Heshi decided to keep it. She didn't slip the ring onto Nangongyu right away. Instead, she pulled out a silver needle and delicately etched a few words inside the ring. "She and you, never apart." Seeing these words, Nangongyu's eyes flashed. Before Heshi reached out, he put the ring on his ring finger. Heshi smiled and looked at him. "Who said this ring is for you? Who else can you give it to?" Nangongyu lowered his head and kissed her lips. His smile was like a bright sun. "Sheer, I've got dibs on you forever." Before Heshi could speak, Little Egg's cheers suddenly came from not far away. "Oh, the marriage proposal is successful. Daddy, mother, happy wedding." Little Pink Pig scampered over with its short legs. Then, a bunch of others showed up one after the other, trailing behind Little Egg and heading her way. Chapter 1604, Happiness Qing Long, by Hu, Qing Wan, Xian Wu, Gu Lufeng, Ouyang Haoshuan, Jin Ziyu, Qian Dezhuang, Ning. Almost everyone they knew in Miracle Healer City appeared. Zhang Yi said excitedly, "Brother Shiyu, I have tamed these colorful butterflies. What? When you get married, I will tame many colorful phoenixes for you as wedding gifts." Zhang Chong patted his head and said in annoyance, "Stop calling her brother Shiyu. Obviously, Shiyu is a super gorgeous woman now." Little Egg hopped around excitedly, "Mother, it was all my idea. I gave all the proposal tricks to father." Wei Qingyuan took a step forward and chuckled, "Shiyu, congratulations." "Shiyu, congratulations." Everyone from the Huang medical branch shouted with a smile. "Congratulations, master, congratulations, princess." Qin Long and the rest bowed down to Nangongyu. Ouyang Haoshuan and Gu Lufeng stood side by side, each pressing a fist to their heart and giving a little nod. In the moonlight, they softly said, "Shiyu, congratulations." They hoped the only master they'd ever truly followed would find the happily ever after. Xiaoqi was joyous. Her clear eyes seemed to reflect the starlight. "Sister, happy, love." Heshi looked around at everyone, feeling a surge of emotion in her eyes. These were all the folks she met after arriving in this world. Friends, relatives, partners. She had never thought that she could have such feelings and blessings before. She had long been accustomed to fighting alone and shouldering everything alone. She had always marched to the beat of her own drum, never caring what others thought or needing anyone to join in on her journey. Heshi had always believed that her whole life world would be summarized in this manner, but it turned out she was wrong. Receiving genuine blessings and affection from these people truly touched her heart. It's as if the originally pale life was suddenly filled with flowers. She would no longer be lonely or tired. She whispered, "Thank you. I also hope you can find your own happiness." Nangong Yu hugged his beloved lady from behind, with fragrant flower petals gently flying on their cheeks. Everyone's laughter echoed in the air. If only this kind of happiness could last forever. Whoosh, whoosh, whoopsh. In the quiet night, an old man in ragged clothes was running desperately in the forest. Far behind him, several beastkins were swiftly searching for traces, moving at great speed. Those beastkins were about to catch up with the old man. The old man's face was filled with fear and despair. His cloudy eyes were bloodshot, fixated on the sky not far away. A hoarse voice echoed in the dark night, "Is it true that heaven wants to destroy our Feng family?" As soon as he finished speaking, a bone pendant on his body suddenly emitted a dazzling purple light. The old man was startled at first and then cried with joy. The beastkin behind him was getting closer and closer. A tiger beastkin was already shouting, "Don't let the bastard who wants to murder my king escape. Kill him! Kill him!" However, just as the beastkin closed in, weapons poised to strike, the figure ahead began to fade, eventually disappearing into the darkness of the forest. The tiger beastkin frowned and said, "Teleportation array? This energy fluctuation doesn't seem like it." Feng Wan wrinkled his nose and sniffed. His expression changed. He broke through the barrier and went to the upper realm? How is this possible? The tiger beastkin's face darkened. "Let's go back and report to the king." Chapter 1605. Lu family in an inconspicuous hall on the Siam continent. The Feng family's patriarch knelt down with a thud. "Third elder, please save our Feng family. Please help us avenge our family." Seated above was a middle-aged man with a sinister appearance. He glanced at the patriarch with disgust and said coldly, "You sent a message through Yun Zhao, claiming you have information about the wood source. Is that true? I've expended significant energy to allow you to breach the barrier and enter this continent. If I find any deception in your words, I'll destroy you and disintegrate your soul." Feng family's patriarch banged his head on the ground. He said tremblingly, "I wouldn't dare to deceive the third elder. The wood source has indeed appeared in the magical beast forest. If the third elder doubts it, you can investigate for yourself. However, that place is a beastkin's lair. Among them is a winged dragon beast that has advanced to rank 12. If we are not fully prepared, I fear, it's just a bunch of lowly beastkin." The third elder snorted, narrowing his eyes. "Come here. Let me examine you." Feng family's patriarch stepped forward with trepidation. He was about to ask the third elder what he intended to examine. Suddenly, the third elder locked onto his dantung. A potent, chilling spiritual power infiltrated into it. Feng family's patriarch let out an agonizing scream, his body trembling uncontrollably. He wanted to beg for mercy but didn't dare to. On the other hand, joy painted the third elder's face. "It's the wood source. There are truly the residues of wood source. Our Lu family's opportunity to rise has finally come." The wood source was the most robust and pure energy in the world. Once this energy manifested, it would linger for a long time. People within its presence, while breathing and channeling their spiritual energy, would also absorb this power. However, because it was incredibly subtle, it often went unnoticed. However, the third elder, being a master of the void darkness stage, naturally had ways to detect it. He stood up abruptly and said, "Go find Yun Zhao to tend to your wounds. I will inform the family master and the great elder. Mu Hua, you've done a great service this time. If we truly obtain the wood source, our Lu family will definitely reward you." Feng family's patriarch was overjoyed and quickly bowed to express his gratitude. The news about the wood source swept through the Lu family like a hurricane, startling everyone. Lu Tenghai, the Lu family master, gazed at those below and instructed sternly, "Wood source is something the entire Siam continent covets. We must keep this news a secret." Everyone below nodded in agreement. Lu Tenghai turned his gaze to the Feng family's patriarch and said calmly, Can you determine who or what possesses the wood source? Feng family's patriarch shook his head in panic. He initially thought the wood source was from the dragon, but after the fight he discovered that maybe it wasn't. At that time, there were so many people in the magical beast forest. Feeling the disdainful and cold stares from the surrounding members of the Lu family, as if they were looking at a useless pawn, the patriarch of the Feng family trembled slightly. Suddenly, a handsome young man standing behind the Feng family's patriarch took a step forward, bowed to Lu Zonghai, and said, "Master, I might have a way to determine who owns the wood source." This young man's name was Feng Yunzhao. He was the only remaining descendant of the Feng family and the only hope for the Feng family. Despite his age, his talent was somewhat lacking. He had only reached the nascent soul stage. However, only he was kept by the Lu family to train at the main residence. This was because his spiritual roots and the techniques he could cultivate were exceptionally unique. Chapter 1606. Reincarnation Art. Feng Yunzhao had a mutated wood spiritual root, but his ability wasn't related to healing but to controlling time. Even if he could only control the flow of time within a limited area, it was still an incredibly rare ability. Lu Zonghai's attitude toward Feng Yunzhao softened a lot. He said in a deep voice, "What do you propose?" Feng Yunzhao raised his head, revealing a gentle and charming smile. "I attained the 3rd level of Reincarnation Art half a year ago. If the residue of the wood source is sufficient, I believe I can definitely recreate the scene from several months ago." The 3rd level of the Reincarnation Art? With that said, everyone in the Lu family sat up and looked at Feng Yunzhao in shock. The Feng family's patriarch was startled, exclaiming, "Yunzhao, casting the Reincarnation Art comes with a great cost. With your current cultivation level, if you employ the art, you will probably be downgraded to the gold core stage." You can't do that." Feng Yunzhao remained composed, with no hint of panic on his face. He calmly said, "The Lu family has shown Yunzhao immense kindness. It is Yunzhao's honor to lessen the burden of the family master and the elders." Lu Zonghai nodded repeatedly, looking at Feng Yunzhao with an increasingly pleasing expression. "Nice. Great. Yunzhao, for your dedication to the Lu family, we will surely not let you down. Yunzhao, 3rd elder, you shall investigate the wood source." Lu Zonghai paused. "This matter must be kept a secret. No one else should find out about it. As for the Lu family, everything proceeds as usual. We can't have anyone suspect anything. As for reporting to the elderly patriarch, I will handle it accordingly. For the matters regarding the Miluo continent, I will have Wushuang assist you." Everyone below received the order. Their eyes were filled with burning passion. If the Lu family could secure the wood source, they would undoubtedly become one of the prominent families on the Siam continent. From then on, the rise of the Lu family would be unstoppable. In the northern glacier of the Miluo continent, in the Thousand Poison Valley, with her face veiled, she stared intently at a nearby portrait. In a sudden burst of anger, she grabbed a glass and hurled it to the ground. The portrait depicted a woman of unparalleled beauty, wearing dazzling clothes that shimmered with iridescent light. Though her face wore a cold and indifferent expression, devoid of any emotion, anyone would be captivated upon seeing her. "Shiyu, Nengongyu." Lu Wushuang yelled out these 2 names bitterly. Unexpectedly, Shiyu turned out to be a woman and took away the phoenix feather heavenly dress that she sought after for so long. What made her resentful the most was that Nangongyu turned out to be just like Nangong Outyin. The 2 enchanting beauties, Feng Lianying and Yun Jingxue, could not seduce him. On the contrary, he was about to get married to Shiyu. Trash. A bunch of trash. What's the point of keeping you alive? How did Yun Jingxue fail to seduce Nangongyu? Without that, there's no way for me to implant voodoo into Nangongyu's body. How can I turn Nangongyu into my puppet? Now that Nangongyu is about to marry Shiyu, am I just going to watch the bastard of Nangong Outyin and Yuncharan live happily ever after? I won't let that happen. The bastard of Yuncharan has to taste all the pain in the world and meet a tragic end. This is the only way to quench my resentment. Also, that arrogant young man. In Lu Wushuang's eyes flashed the face of Ouyang Haoshuan, who still smiled nonchalantly even with a severed hand. A fiery glint appeared in her eyes. Chapter 1607. Letter from the Lu family. It had been a long time since Lu Wushuang was so interested in a toy boy. She was so captivated that she would do anything to have him. In Lu Wushuang's eyes, Ouyang Haoshuan had long been her toy boy and her possession. Darn it, why is Ouyang Haoshuan so obsessed with that bitch, Shiyu? Lu Wushuang picked up another glass and smashed it on the ground. Her expression under the veil was distorted. Valley Master, why are you so upset? Allow me to calm you down, okay? A toy boy's soft voice rang in her ears as hands softly rested on her shoulders. Lu Wushuang's eyes flickered. She slowly pulled off his mask and asked the toy boy, "Am I pretty?" "Pretty, Valley Master, is the most beautiful in my heart." The toy boy's eyes burned with lust. Lu Wushuang pointed to the portrait before her. "So, is she prettier or am I?" The toy boy followed Lu Wushuang's gesture and looked over, chuckling softly. "Of course, Valley Master is the prettiest. There is such a beautiful woman in this world." A ruthless and menacing light flashed in Lu Wushuang's eyes. Suddenly, she extended her hand and swiftly grabbed the toy boy's head. The fascination in the toy boy's eyes turned into panic. He screamed, "Valley Master, you are prettier. Valley Master, you are 100 times more beautiful than her. Valley Master, please spare me, Lu Wushuang sneered. Then, before he could finish his words, she tightened her grip, her fingers digging deep into his head. She tossed the lifeless body aside. A mix of red and yellow liquid gurgled out from the skull, staining the wool blanket on the ground. Lu Wushuang's gaze remained fixed on the portrait, which depicted Shiyu wearing the phoenix feather heavenly dress at the Nangong family's banquet. Rumor had it that the beauty in the painting was only a fraction of Shiyu's actual beauty, perhaps 1/10. Yet even this mere fraction seemed more captivating than her, Lu Wushuang. But why did Shiyu, a trash from a lowly realm, get to marry into the Nangong family? How could she even compare to me? A cold, murderous intent flashed in Lu Wushuang's eyes. She left and issued her orders. Suddenly, a woman dressed in white and wearing a veil hurried in. "Valley Master, it's a letter from the Lu family." Lu Wushuang was surprised and froze momentarily. Ever since Lu Wushuang came to the lower realm, Miluo continent, and killed Yun Charan, the Lu family had always pretended that she did not exist. Since then, Lu Wushuang had been exiled to the Miluo continent and could not return to the upper realm. This was the punishment the Lu family imposed on her, and it was also her own obsession. Although Nangong Outyin and Yun Charan were dead, their offspring, Nangong Yu, was still alive and well, especially under the protection of the old man from Siam. How could she possibly accept this? Therefore, before Nangong Yu died tragically, even if the Lu family summoned her back, she wouldn't return. However, this didn't mean that she didn't want to be forgiven by the Lu family or wish to return to the Lu family. Chapter 1608. Have a safe journey. Taking the light green inscribed jade slip, Lu Wushuang sank her divine sense into it. Once she read the contents, her eyes shone with fervent light. Wood source. With that, our Lu family can rise to prominence. I will get to return to the Lu family as well. At that moment, Lu Wushuang put everything else out of her mind and waved at the woman in white. "Send the order immediately. We're heading to the magical beast forest. Also, bring my newly configured voodoo poison, Crimson Voodoo." Haha, aren't the beastkins of the magical beast forest powerful? I want to see if they can break through my voodoo poison barrier. Shiyu, Nangong Yu, I shall let you enjoy your life while you can. Once I get the wood source, I will send you to hell. As the wedding date drew nearer, He finally managed to get through most of the books in the Miracle Healer Academy's library. Over at the King of Hell Mansion, with people constantly coming over and urging her with long faces, He decided to return to Jinling City. Actually, she did receive letters from my Xiang and the others from the sealed dragon domain, asking her to stay at the Miracle Healer Academy until just before the wedding. They promised to handle all wedding preparations on their end, so she wouldn't have to worry about a thing. The king of Hell Mansion was responsible for the groom's side of the wedding, from the bridal chamber to hosting the guests. With the groom, Nan Gongyu, absent, Butler Nan at the mansion was nearing his wit's end. Butler Nan sent updates on the wedding preparations to Nan Gongyu every few days. Meanwhile, the boundless black market sent a barrage of letters daily, urging him to return. On the other hand, Nan Gongyu took his sweet time. He acted as though guarding his wife was of utmost importance, dismissing the people Butler Nan sent. In the end, Butler Nan had to send a letter to Hushi asking for help. Otherwise, the people at King of Hell Mansion would be overwhelmed. The afternoon sun bathed the minimalist courtyard of the Huang dormitory. Hushi raised her head, basking in the pleasant. She squinted her eyes for a while before turning to the man beside her. "Shen Mu, I'm going back to Jinling Kingdom." The man took a pause before nodding. "Congratulations. Will you come to our wedding?" Shen Mu was silent for a moment. He then shook his head. "After the matter here is over, it's time for me to go back and resume my life." The man did not mention what he was planning, where he was headed, or whom he was reporting back to. Hushi didn't ask further. She raised her glass and waved it toward him. "Then, I wish you a safe journey." Shen Mu raised his glass, clinked it with her, and drank it in one gulp. The wine Hushi poured was top-notch and notably strong. Its pungent spiciness combined with the rich aroma hit the nose. As it flowed down his throat, it felt as if it could scorch his esophagus and internal organs. This mix of pain and relief felt just like what he had been going through recently. Shen Mu suddenly took out a jade box and placed it before Heshi. "Here's my wedding gift." Heshi took the gift curiously and opened it. She found a bundle of extremely fine, transparent threads inside, emitting a chilly aura. Chapter 1609. Take care. This is Cocoon Ice Silk. Ordinary magic weapons from the Siam continent cannot cut it, and it is invulnerable to ordinary water and fire. I've noticed you occasionally use silver needles as weapons, so this silk thread might help you. It was rare to hear Shen Mu speak so much. Hushi was so taken aback that she even forgot to marvel at the uniqueness of the ice silk. It wasn't until Shen Mu noticed her lack of response that he looked over curiously. Hushi came back to her senses and put the ice silk away with a smile. "Thank you." She couldn't say anything else except thank you. This friend helped her a lot in the Miracle Healer Academy and gave her many rare treasures in the Miluo continent. Hushi wanted to offer something in return, but the treasures of the Miluo continent were merely ordinary items to Shen Mu. Hushi took out a storage ring and said with a smile, "I don't have much to offer in return. I heard from my master that many of the seniors in the Siam continent are quite fond of wine. Here, take the wine. If you like them, enjoy them yourself. If not, feel free to give them away. Aren't you going to report back? If your master isn't satisfied with your work, use these wines to bribe him." Shen Mu took the storage ring over with a dull expression. I can't imagine their comical reaction when I bribe them with wine." After putting away the storage ring, the sound of the airship taking off could be heard not far away. Just as Heshi was about to say goodbye to Shen Mu, he took a step forward, reached out, grabbed her, and hugged her gently. Heshi was taken aback. Just as she was about to push him away, a deep male voice whispered in her ear, "Shiyu, be careful and look after yourself." The surprise on her face gradually softened. Heshi smiled and said, "You too take care." Just as she was about to step away, a sudden strong pull from behind drew her into a warm and familiar embrace. Nan Gongyu's cold and unfriendly voice sounded, "Leave. Shiyu is mine. Lay a hand on her again, I'll chop you into pieces." Shen Mu sneered, "If you don't mind losing your limbs before marriage, try me." The air was seemingly filled with crackling flames, reminiscent of lightning and thunder. A fight could break out at any moment. Hushi pressed her temples with a headache. She escaped from Nan Gongyu's arms, turned around, and walked toward the Star Ocean airship. If you're insistent on fighting now, suit yourself. I'm heading back to the Jinling Kingdom first. Bai Hu, get ready to sail. Bai Hu chuckled. Nangong Yu shot Xian Mu a glare, then hurriedly caught up, saying, "Get ready to set sail." The airship slowly lifted into the air, creating gusts of wind throughout the Miracle Healer Academy. At this time, the Huang Medical Branch was empty. Everyone, including Zheng Shuyue, followed Heshi to Jinling City. They had prided themselves on being Heshi's close family. Of course, they would attend her wedding. The elders and students of Miracle Healer Academy who weren't boarding the airship gazed upward at the departing airship. Their hearts were filled with melancholy. The most talented, yet most troublesome student in the history of the Miracle Healer Academy, Shiyu, had finally left. The academy returned to its usual calm, but many were left with feelings of longing and loneliness. And that girl would embark on a brand new journey, continuing to shape her legendary and bright future. Chapter 1610. They have returned. The airship landed slowly at the foot of Tsang Mountain. Heshi's eyes widened in shock as she watched the scene below. Looking down from the airship, all she could see were crowds of people packed tightly together at the base of Tsang Mountain. They looked like swarming ants from above. Zhang Yi and the rest were shocked. They stammered, "Brother Shiyu, how come? Why are there so many people? I've been wondering the same thing." The corners of Shiyu's mouth twitched. Butler Nan stood nearby with an amiable smile like a Buddha. "Masters, ever since the word of your wedding spread, the people of Jinling City and martial artists from the other kingdom have visited us. They've been waiting here, hoping to catch a glimpse of you." In fact, many people from the Miluo continent attended the Nangong family banquet at Miracle Healer Academy. Ever since they saw Shiyu in women's clothing, they had become crazy fans and spread the word everywhere in Miluo continent. Many talented artists painted portraits of Shiyu. Anyone who saw those portraits was utterly amazed. Moreover, Nangong Yu's striking appearance was already well known to everyone. With such a strikingly handsome man and a beautiful woman coming together, who wouldn't want to catch a glimpse? That was why there was a terrifying scene where people gathered outside the sealed dragon domain all day just to see the true appearance of the couple. Butler Nan smiled and said, "We can't just let the crowd gather like this. Why doesn't the king lead the queen out to meet them and then persuade them to leave? This would not only clear the crowd but also put to rest the rumors that the king of hell's wife was a man. It would be like killing two birds with one stone." Nangong Yu wasn't usually inclined to deal with unrelated matters or people, but Butler Nan's warm and benevolent smile persuaded him otherwise. Heshi only wanted to disperse the crowd so she could return to the sealed dragon domain and have a good rest. At the foot of Tsang Mountain, the bustling crowd went quiet. Everyone looked up into the sky in unison. An airship slowly descended towards them, proudly displaying the emblem of the King of Hell Mansion, Iron Kirin. "Ah, it's His Highness King of Hell and the Queen. They have returned. Is Shiyu really a woman? Is she really as beautiful as the portrait? I want to see her. Damn, stop pushing me away. I've been waiting here for many days just to take a look at Shiyu's true appearance." The Star Ocean airship slowly descended, but it hovered just above the crowd instead of landing. As the air current settled, the crowd looking up could clearly see the scene on the deck of the ship. A tall, strikingly handsome man appeared, walking slowly with a young woman by his side. The moment they saw the man, many couldn't help but gasp in awe. Several women were enchanted by the charm, almost to the point of fainting. However, when the crowd got a clear view of the young woman beside him, they all froze in place, as if turned to stone. They held their breath, not even blinking an eye. No words, idioms, or verses from the greatest poets could capture her beauty. Dressed in a simple light green outfit, her ink-black hair was elegantly secured by a single jade hairpin. Apart from that, she wore no other jewelry or adornments. However, the moment this young woman appeared, it felt as if all the elements of the universe, the sun, moon, and stars, suddenly paled in comparison, losing their shine. Everyone, Heshi and I, Nangong Yu, We'll be getting married in 10 days. You are all welcome to join the wedding banquet at the King of Hell Mansion. However, this area around Song Mountain is the private property of my fiancée, Hashi. I kindly ask everyone to leave promptly and not disturb her rest. Chapter 1611. The aggrieved daughter-in-law Nangong Yu's deep voice resonated, snapping many back to their senses. However, some were still drooling, gazing at Shiyu in a daze. Nangong Yu sneered. His voice took an icy tone. Half an hour from now, if I catch anyone disturbing Shiyu's rest in this area, don't blame the King of Hell Mansion for what's going to happen. This statement, though seemingly calm and casual, was like a bolt of lightning, instantly jolting those who were still entranced back to reality. The crowd let out a gasp, taking one last longing glance at the couple who looked like they were straight out of a fairy tale, before scattering in all directions. They surely wanted to admire the goddess's beauty more, but who dared to defy the mighty presence of the King of Hell? It was better to gaze from a distance than risk their lives up close. In no time, the crowd that was once densely packed at the foot of the mountain had dispersed. Heshi was delighted. She jumped out of the Star Ocean airship. Miss, you are finally back. Shi Jia and others streamed out of the teleportation array. They knelt before Heshi, their eyes filled with joy and excitement of a long-awaited reunion. Mai Xiang, who was rather emotional, had secretly wiped away her tears. It had been too long since they last saw Mississippi. Mudong took a step forward and said, "Miss, your room has already been prepared. You must be tired from your journey. Allow me to escort you to your rest." Heshi smiled and nodded. As she was about to follow Shi Jia and the others into the teleportation array, she saw Nangong Yu following them again. Butler Nan, who was not far away, looked at her with a troubled and pleading expression. Heshi couldn't resist a gentle chuckle as she playfully pushed Nangong Yu, remarking, "Behave for now, return when your work is finished." Nangong Yu wore a sad expression as if he were an aggrieved daughter-in-law. Heshi ignored him, turned around, and disappeared into the teleportation array with Shi Jia and the rest. Jin Zhu and the others naturally followed into the sealed Dragon Domain's teleportation array, but when they passed by Nangong Yu, their expressions were intricate. Shiyu actually told His Majesty King of Hell to behave, while Nangong Yu still looked aggrieved. Everyone felt like their worldviews had been turned upside down. On the contrary, Qin Long and the others had long been accustomed to how the king and the queen got along, and they were used to it. As soon as Heshi's figure disappeared, Nangong Yu immediately returned to his usual cold and indifferent demeanor. He waved his hand and commanded, "Xianwu, assemble a team of Iron Kirin to guard the area. The rest of you, accompany me back to the King of Hell Mansion." "Yes, master." Lu Shuyang knelt nervously on the cold blue stone brick floor, cold sweat dripping from his forehead. Not far in front of him was an empty chair. A man wearing a white robe and a silver mask stood next to the chair with a respectful expression. Suddenly, there was a flash of silver light, and a figure was projected on the chair. It was a tall man wearing a moon-white robe, with green vines printed on it. They intertwined to form a pattern. The man's face was also concealed behind a mask, but this mask was exceedingly eerie. It featured the same vine-like patterns, yet under the crystal's light, those vines seemed to move as if they were alive. Upon seeing this person appear, the sweat on Lu Shuyang's face dripped down from his forehead. He bowed his head and respectfully said, "Greetings, your venerable." The man seated above cast a calm glance at him and inquired, "Do you have anything to say?" Lu Shuyang looked up and saw Qishan's figure. Chapter 1612. A chance to explain myself. Standing beside the man in the green vine-patterned robe, the silver fox's expression darkened as he said, "Lu Xiang, when I asked you if you knew about the wood source, you claimed to know nothing. Are you deliberately deceiving Venerable Qing Teng? This subordinate would never dare." Lu Xiang kowtowed on the bluestone ground with a resounding thud, his voice trembling with extreme fear. "Your Venerable, please give this subordinate a chance to explain himself." The man in the long robe chuckled softly, his laughter carrying an ambiguous tone as if toying with a little mouse. "Oh? Then go ahead and tell us." "I admit that I have indeed concealed some information about the wood source from Sir Silverfox and Sir Chishan. But that's because, firstly, I haven't yet confirmed the true whereabouts of the wood source. Secondly, I want to wait for His Venerable to come out of seclusion and report to you in person. I admit I had my own motives, but I would never dare to betray or deceive you." Lu Shuyang's words made Silverfox's face become even more ugly. The eyes looking at him seemed to be quenched with poison. This insignificant mortal from the lower realms actually dares to seek favor before His Venerable, attempting to surpass both Chishan and me. He had news, yet he chose not to inform me but instead reported directly to His Venerable. Who does he think he is? However, the man in the long robe burst into hearty laughter. After a bout of laughter, he finally said, "I am aware of your loyalty. So, do you now have a clear idea of who possesses the wood source?" Lu Shuyang heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He had finally passed this test. However, he was unwilling to hand over the wood source that was almost within his grasp. The man in the long robe lightly tapped on something and said, "Tell me about your discovery." Before the leader of the Green Vine clan, Lu Shuyang dared not hide anything. He quickly recounted what he had heard from the heavenly mulberry sacred tree in the magic beast forest, the battle with Shiyu, and the discovery of several types of spiritual roots in his body. He then went on to explain his discovery within the seven-star formation, that there would be residual traces once the wood source was exerted. Although these remnants were extremely faint, they had been detected by his voodoo. The light in the eyes of Venerable Qing Teng flickered, and a blazing fire slowly burned in the depths of his eyes. However, this time, his intuition told him that it was right. The wood source they had been relentlessly pursuing was right there. That was the hope of their Green Vine clan and the greatest assurance for the Green Vine clan's rise to power. "Silver Fox!" Venerable Qing Ting shouted. Silver Fox quickly bowed. Accompany President Lu on another trip to the magical beast forest to investigate whether any remnants of the wood source are left in it. If that person truly possesses the wood source and not an ordinary wood spiritual root, then the essence of life should undoubtedly still linger within them. "Chishan, bring your men to Miluo Continent's Jinling Kingdom and keep a close watch on Shiyu's movements, ensuring she doesn't escape our control. You have to stop anyone from seizing the opportunity before us. But remember, you must be discreet and cautious. Until confirmation, let no one detect your presence." Chapter 1613. Losing his composure. "Yes, Your Venerable." Chishan, standing behind Venerable Qing Teng, acknowledged the command. "President Lu, I will attribute all the merit of this matter to you." Venerable Qing Teng looked at Lu Shuyang gently. "If I really get the wood source, I promise you will have a firm footing within the Green Vine clan." Lu Shuyang's face lit up with immense joy. He quickly bowed deeply in gratitude. He made his exit upon Venerable Qing Teng's gesture. "Your Venerable, do you really trust that sneaky Lu Shuyang?" Silver Fox exclaimed indignantly. Venerable Qing Teng chuckled, his eyes filled with disdain. "This little rat who came crawling to us has greed and desires so obvious that they can't even be hidden. How could I truly trust him? However, his abilities are useful. Until we get what we want, keep a close watch on him. But be careful when searching for the wood source. Don't let him get the upper hand." A glint flashed in Silver Fox's eyes, but a pleased expression appeared on his face. "Your wisdom shines, Your Venerable. I know what to do now." At that moment, Chishan, who stood behind the Venerable Qing Teng, hesitated and said, "Your Venerable, there is one more thing. Although Shiyu is a lower realm martial artist, she was accepted as the immortal Xian Qing's disciple. Immortal Xian Qing is also very fond of this disciple. Furthermore, even Venerable Huiyu treats Shiyu in high regard." "Immortal Xian Qing?" Venerable Qing Teng's eyes showed a trace of surprise. He actually accepted a disciple in the Miluo continent? Even in the Siam continent, I have never seen this old guy take on a disciple. No way. Venerable Qing Ting immediately dismissed this thought. Immortal Xian Qing is renowned in the Siam continent for always regarding fame, wealth, power, magic weapons, and scriptures as worthless. If he covets them, he would have risen to a status even higher than mine by now. In the Siam continent, everyone knows that immortal Xian Qing only has food and wine in his eyes. So he must have really liked that martial artist named Shiyu. You're venerable. Qishan hesitated for a moment before whispering, Shiyu has also put on the phoenix feather heavenly dress. Not only did she put it on, but the phoenix feather heavenly dress has recognized her as its master. What? This time, Venerable Qing Ting finally lost his composure and jumped up from his seat, his face full of horror. Chosen by the phoenix feather heavenly dress? Could she be the one destined by that person? Impossible. That's just a baseless rumor. Yes, just a rumor. Besides, how long has it been since that person disappeared? Venerable Qing Ting took a deep breath, suppressing the instinctual fear in his heart. He frowned and said, Qishan, Silver Fox, treat this matter with utmost care and ensure no one learns of it. I'll dispatch Black Snake and the Green Vine clans, Wind Division, to aid you. Do you understand? Yes, you're venerable. Silver Fox said again, what about immortal Xian Qing and venerable Huiyu? Huiyu is currently swamped with matters in the Divine Moon Palace and certainly won't have the time to concern himself with a girl from the lower realm. As for Xian Qing, don't worry about him. I'll find a way to get him to leave Milieu Continent. The Green Vine clan was determined to get the wood source. After returning to the sealed dragon domain, He took a good rest. When she woke up again, she felt incredibly rejuvenated, both physically and mentally. Sealed Dragon Domain, previously ideal for the Greenwood Domain and Water Moon Domain, had undergone significant changes. Pavilions and towers were erected. Alongside the green mountains and clear waters, the scenery was indescribably beautiful. Chapter 1614. Amusing, Sister Shiyu, it's been so long. I've missed you so much. A crisp female voice echoed from a distance, followed by a petite figure rushing into her arms. It was Shen Qingchua, along with Shen Sen, who followed behind her with a smile. Shen Sen chuckled, we're here for your wedding with His Highness King of Hell. You're not going to turn us away, are you? Heshi smiled slightly, why would I? It's my pleasure. Shen Sen looked at the beautiful girl in front of him. He couldn't find any words that could describe his current emotion. When they first met, the girl in front of him was just a low-rank martial artist at the Foundation establishment stage, struggling to survive under the pursuit of the Feng family. But in just less than a year, she had achieved such an incredible height and was about to marry into the King of Hell Mansion. Shiyu, why can't I discern your current cultivation level? Shen Sen exclaimed, you seem to be at the gold core stage, but I feel that your strength far surpasses mine. Seeing Heshi just smile without uttering a word, Shen Sen became discouraged. With the pace of your advancement, how are ordinary people like us supposed to keep up? Shen Qingchua giggled, that's because Sister Shiyu is a genius. She's the best, unmatched in the world. Even if you're envious, uncle, it won't help. Right, Sister Xiaoyu? Heshi tapped her forehead and whispered, did you approach Gu Lufeng? Shen Qingchua blushed and changed the subject. By the way, Sister Shiyu, Mo Xiaoda left a few months ago. She said that she received a letter from home asking her to go back immediately, and I asked her where her home was. But she refused to reveal anything and only said that her home was far away. Heshi had a rough idea. Mo Xiaodu must be from the Siam continent. After coming into contact with the martial artists from the Siam continent, Heshi could distinctly sense the unique aura radiating from these upper realm individuals. After catching up with Shen Sen, they left. Shi Jia and the others immediately entered and reported to Heshi about what had happened in the past 6 months. To Heshi's relief, the strength of Shi Jia's group had improved rapidly, having already reached the realm of the bone tempering state. While such rapid progress in cultivation was partly due to the benefits of the sealed dragon domains bonus, to reach such a level in such a short time, Xie Jia and the others must have put in efforts far beyond that of ordinary people. Heshi nodded delightfully. You all have done well. It was just a simple sentence, but it immediately brought tears to Xie Jia and the others' eyes as they knelt down, bowing their heads deeply. They felt that all their efforts and struggles over the past half-year were worth it. Mai Xiang and Mu Dong also walked up to Heshi. Mai Xiang said playfully, Miss, we've done well too. We've been working day and night these past few days to make your wedding dress. Give us some praise too. Heshi chuckled. Can this group be any more amusing? The sealed dragon domain, which was originally quiet and methodically operating, suddenly sprang to life with the return of its master. The lively, bustling, and cheerful sounds filled the place, as if even the air itself was imbued with the warmth of happiness. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.